And live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful south side of Chicago, daily talk for the normal working class. I mean, I guess sometimes we're partisan, but we're not political. I don't think it has anything to do with political parties or anything. Anyway, we talk about the day's events, at least insofar as they interest me. I bring them to you. We do it every day at noon. We've got a chat room, so I would expect you to behave yourselves. Stay neighborly. That's the order of the chat room. Speaking of the chat room, every day we like to reward the first three people into the chat room. We call it the podium. It's just like in F1 racing. First, second, and third place is rewarded. Today's podium. Let's see. Well, Peter was in first, but Peter's like, yeah, no, me and my wife are jet setting away to some fantastic locale. So I'm going to abdicate he was first in. Peter was first in, but he's abdicating. So that brings us to, who do we got? Okay. All right. Let's just do it. It's April. It's Taronda, and it's the Dark Lord himself, Byron. That's right. April, Taronda, and Byron. Thank you, guys. That's our podium for this Friday as we head into a non-holiday weekend. But around these parts, here on the south side of Chicago, summer's here. It is official. Summer is here. Well, although summer in Chicago, if I'm being honest with you, the current temperature right now is probably not what any of my Texas friends would call summer. Current temperature, 80 degrees. 80 degrees and sunny. Just doesn't get any better than that. How hot is it? Like, how bad is it going to get today? What is it going to max out? 84. It says it's going to max out at like 84 at like 4. Then we're going to have a nice cool night. Nice little shorts and sweatshirt night. Oh, my God. I love that kind of weather. When the temperature at night's like 70, maybe 72, 73, and you can still sit outside around a bonfire and all that, and it's nice, but you're wearing a hoodie with shorts. That's how you do it. Yeah, summer's here. My kid's coming in a week. He's not going to be here Saturday. He's going to be here a week from Saturday. And I got to tell you, I am not prepared. I'm prepared. What's there to prepare for? My little buddy's going to be hanging around. My little buddy, he's a 17-year-old shit talker is what he is. Anyway, we're going to talk a lot about the teenage experience, especially with my son, my Texas born, my big Texan. He's a big kid. Big Texan coming here to Chicago. He's probably going to want to spread his wings a little bit now that he drives. And, it's not like when he's come before when it's like, Dad, take me. You don't have to do that anymore. He can just be like, Dad, I'm going to go driving around. And then I got to be like, you don't go into certain neighborhoods, dude. I mean, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. But, he's a responsible kid. He's not a dumb, he's not like I would have no problem giving him my car. Like if he's like, Dad, I just need to go clear my head. I would have no problem with that because he is, he's not a troublemaker. If my kid, like if he was like in and out of rehab already by the time he's 17 years old, I probably wouldn't give him the car because he was probably online and he found a dealer, or whatever. But that's not my kid. So, but there's still stress. Yeah, this is new for me. A lot of you folks, you're like, oh, please, my kid's in his 30s now. This was nothing. Wait till the mid-20s or whatever. I don't know. But this is weird. It's weird. He's coming to town, and we're going to talk about something that happens here in Chicago in the summer. A bit of a teen phenomenon. It's called the teen takeovers. Oh, they have them in every city, but none of them do them quite to the extent that the city of Chicago does. Teen takeovers aren't anything new. Well, I mean, I guess the extremity of them are new now, but we've been doing it for years. Whenever the weather breaks in the city, every teenager from any corner of the Chicago metropolitan area will wait for the first Friday when it's really nice and head downtown. We all head downtown. We've always done it, but it's a little different now. And we're going to talk about the current state of the Chicago teen takeover, what the police are trying to do, what parents are being encouraged to do, what the mayor is doing, which is nothing. Chicago has like the worst mayor of all time. I don't know what this guy does. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We're also going to get into a story from yesterday. We'll bring it back. I talked yesterday about the Great American State Fair picnic on the mall, and whatever it was, right? That big concert. That thing's falling apart. It was announced. I gave you the lineup yesterday. We went through all the bands, and I told you what I thought of all the bands, and I thought it was a pretty lightweight lineup, a pretty weak-ass lineup. Well, it's fallen apart. Apparently, the artists who were performing were not told that this was paid for and backed by a partisan agenda, which, I thought the partisan agenda for, something called America's State Fair, I would think that something like that, the partisan agenda would be just America, right? But no, not in 2026. It's got to stand for something, It's got to be about something. So none of the people who were announced to be on that well, some of them are there. We'll tell you. We'll do an accounting. We'll get to that. We'll figure out who's still there, who's out, why they say they're out. A lot of them are being very, articulate about their reasons. So we'll go through some of those. What else are we going to talk about today? I found a really cool restaurant. I love restaurants. I love restaurant culture. I love restaurant shows. Came a point in my life about 15 years ago when I started cooking when I really started cooking, like cooking stuff for people, like meals, recipes, and all that kind of stuff. And people started going, "Hey man, you're a really good cook." It was about 15 years ago. I went, I should have been a chef. I maybe should have been a chef. Maybe. I don't know. Because it's the only thing. Cooking meals for people is like the only thing that I really enjoy doing other than, a live stream every day where I scream in clouds for 5 years. But I don't know. All right. So we'll talk about restaurants. The new list of the best restaurants in North America is out. Now, this is interesting for us here in Chicago because we've always considered ourselves, a major player in that. For a whole bunch of years in a row, we've had the best restaurant in all of North America. If you watch the Bear, I believe they did a lot of stuff about Alinea. So we'll check in on that list. We'll see what cities in America have the most Michelin-starred restaurants and therefore are considered the finest dining establishments. Where are they? Where does New Orleans rank? Where does Dallas rank? Does anywhere in Texas rank? Houston? Maybe there's a place in San Antonio. I don't know. We'll get into it. We'll run through that as well. Space. We got space problems. We'll talk about Blue Origin. They blowed up on the launch pad. Not the launch pad. It's being misrepresented. So we'll get to the bottom of that. That was an engine test. That thing was never supposed to lift off. However, also, it wasn't supposed to blow up when you hit start, right? That was a problem. So we'll talk about that. Maddie's going to join us. Maddie's got a bunch of stuff. Maddie, I told Maddie, I said, look, I'm running around this morning. I got a bunch of stuff that I got to do. I trust you at this point. Just come on and just dazzle me with your crazy left-leaning. She's left. She's not left-leaning. She's, Anyway, it's always good to hear that point of view. What else are we going to talk about here today? I want to talk about something that's happening next Sunday. Is it the 12th, I think? I want to get in a little bit to this UFC fight at the White House, because first of all, it's an incredibly stupid idea. just in general. I'm like, no, can we not do that at the White House? No tractor pulls, no topless, dance parties, no wet t-shirt contests, no UFC fights. It's a bad look. It's just a bad look. That's all. I don't know how else to say it. Well, if you want to come at me and be like, oh, come on, get the stick out of your ass, I'll say, you're a piece of trash. That's what I will say. If you think that I've got to stick up my ass because I don't think a UFC cage fight is appropriate for the White House grounds, then fine. You can have that opinion of me. I'm just going to move on. You're a moron. You're the idiot. This is not normal. This is not something we should be doing. And I love fighting. I love UFC. You know me. This isn't about you, but it's the two things. They don't. Anyway, Joe Rogan made some news yesterday because a lot of people, especially on the left, and this is what we like to do. We like to write the bullshit, whether it's bullshit on the right or bullshit on the left, but the bullshit on the left had the headline screaming, Joe Rogan lists reasons why the UFC fight at the White House is a bad idea. Like, they totally presented it. Like, Joe Rogan, the king of the idiots, Joe Rogan is somehow against this. I went and listened to it. I listened to the whole thing. Joe Rogan's not against. We'll talk about what the actual thing that Joe Rogan said and his actual problems with this fight is. It ain't like mine. I just told you what my problem is. My problem with the fight at the White House is that it's just a bad look. It's a trashy, low-class, unsophisticated kind of thing for our White House. But okay. That's my problem with it. That ain't Joe Rogan's problem with it, even though it was presented as such. So we'll break that down too. Riot Fest. This is fun. Riot Fest. So I'm looking for things to do this summer because my kid's going to be here. Unfortunately, he's going to go long before Riot Fest. But Chicago in the summertime, because I've been saying it, man, you people don't understand it. This is the greatest summer city in America. It's not too hot. It doesn't rain. The weather is fucking great for like 2 months. It's awesome. Every kid in the Midwest comes and, starts breaking into cars on our lakefront whenever it's nice. You put up with these things. It is a very nice, temperate summer climate, right? It's very, very nice. So we have a lot of these music festivals that go on here. And I've always said that Riot Fest is the best one. You can have your Lollapalooza. You can have Pitchfork is here this year. Actually, Pitchfork is here a lot every year. Your Blues Fest, whatever the fests are, the big music things, individual single concerts going on at Wrigley or whatever. Of all of those things, I've always thought Riot Fest was the coolest. And Riot Fest this year, holy shit. Hey, Adam Reyna in the chat room. I think he came to Riot Fest last year. Okay, so we'll talk about that. That'll be fun. Plus all the other things. We got 3 videos. We got fun at the old ballpark. It's just gonna be a day where we're gonna be all over the road because it's normal people talk. Just talk about all kinds of things. Things you don't have to ban me from future Thanksgiving dinners for, right? Just that's what we do here every day. All right, let me say hi to the rest of the chat room. Let me see who's in here. Why do we have such a short chat room right now? The chat room is really low. Taronda is here. I said hi to her. Peter is here. I guess Peter's gone now, or at least he's leaving soon. Where's Peter going? Let's see. Peter's going somewhere. He said, here we go. This is what Peter had to say. He was first in. He said, I will let someone else in first today. Dropping out of the race because Kim and I are flying to Seattle at 12:30. What's going on in Seattle? He's got a 100% emoji, which I think means he's being truthful. He's got a checkered flag emoji, which pays homage to the race for the podium here in the chat room. He's got an airplane because he's getting on an airplane. Look at us. Hieroglyphics. We've gone full circle. We're back to just using pictures to communicate. I don't know if that's progress. Peter, why are you going to Seattle? What's in Seattle? Concert. I bet a concert. I bet there's some mid-tier lesbian singer-songwriter doing a show in Seattle that Peter's got to see. You're seeing a lesbian singer-songwriter, aren't you? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying there is. It's just an observation, pointing it out. We can extrapolate some fun from that observation, then, who'd be against that? All right, let me see. Who else we got? We got Peter, we got Byron, we already had Jen's here. Hi, Jen. Jen says hi to the entire chat room. Adam says the Beths played at Riot Fest. I love them. I've seen them 14 times. That's more than I've seen anybody. Not true. I've managed bands that I guess I've seen more than 14 times. That's a lot. Adam, however, will not be coming this year. He says, sadly, I'm sadly going to All Things Go this year in Baltimore instead. Baltimore, enjoy. Smells like humidity. Smells like fish. Ugh. But okay, we all enjoy our things. He takes a summer trip every year. He goes to a different place. It's fun. Barney's here. Let's say hi to Barney. What's Barney's first offering? He says, I'm here. Now you can stop stealing and start the show. There you go. Yeah, I got accused of stealing. I took a picture without credit. And I'll tell you why I took the picture without credit. I got accused of stealing on Twitter. There was a funny picture of fat Caleb Williams. It was obviously AI, but it was like, hey, Caleb shows up to camp. And it was funny. But the account that put it out is a rank fucking asshole. So yeah, I stole it. I ain't forwarding this rank asshole's account. So I just took the picture and put it out there by myself. Fuck you. It's the Wild West. It's Twitter. This is new Twitter Johnny. I am not going to play by the rules that had me with 900 followers for 10 years. F that. Man, I'm closing in on 2,000 in 1 week. Screw that. So, look, I'm going to try and behave myself on Twitter, but I will fucking steal shit from bullshit accounts. So I'm pretty sure they stole it to begin with. So that's what Barney's referring to. I blocked that guy. I don't care. That's the other thing I do. I enjoy blocking people now. Please, I'm a blue check. I don't need you peasants. Are you kidding me? I wear the blue check of shame. There's got to be something I can pull from that positive, and it's feeling superior when I block peasants. Yep, there you go. Peter C. and Brandy Carlisle. I told you he was flying to the Pacific Northwest to see some mid-tier lesbian singer. Slightly trying to trigger him there by calling her mid-tier. She's mid-tier, dude. She ain't Lady Gaga, okay? There are tiers. You can like her better than anyone else, but it doesn't mean that she's not mid-tier. Anyway, I'm completely unfamiliar with her. But Peter's got good taste in music, so I bet you there's something there. There's probably, Adam is in the chat room again. Adam is saying, if you include local bands, I've seen the Feds the most, probably over 100 times. Let's see here. Byron's in the chat room, the Dark Lord. Of course, he was on the podium today. He says, I can't even get a follow back. Yeah, well, you're aggressive, man. I've never been suspended on any. I'm like supposedly, shit talking shock jock guy. I've never been banned. Oh, actually, I think I got silenced by Facebook once for something. But Byron, man, you're a troublemaker. This is why I like you, because I think the world needs troublemakers. All right, that's it. We've checked in with the chat room. What do we want to start with? I made a post this morning on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on everything. Pugs Moran, whether it's anywhere. But Twitter is where I'm most active at because I got skin in the game now. That's right. I wear the blue check of shame. So, Twitter is getting my money's worth there. Pugs Moran, wherever it is that you want to follow me. TikTok is coming. I got to start doing TikTok stuff. I got to wait for my kid to get here. There's like a whole bunch. My kid doesn't know this. I'm going to make him my producer. I'm going to make him learn to do shit that I'm just unwilling to learn. Like TikTok. Like, we're going to make TikTok videos for this show, and my kid is going to show me how to do it. He doesn't even know how to do it yet, but he's going to learn, and it's his generation. So we'll be fine. Pugs Moran, anywhere. Also, Radio Misfits. Radio Misfits. Have you checked out the new 105.3 installment, Who Killed Live 105.3? Haven't listened to it yet. Only on Radio Misfits. That's right. Drops every Thursday. James Parker worked tirelessly cobbling together a whole hours and hours of just tape, and he put together a story, and I hope you enjoy it. That's Radio Misfits. Who Killed Live 105.3. New episodes drop every Thursday. So earlier today on the Twitter, I posted about how, do you have a favorite part of your day? Like, is there like whether, you know what? It might be your morning shit. It might be your morning shower. It might be your shave. It might be, the last thing you do at night. Maybe you listen to something and fall asleep to it, whatever. But I was thinking about my favorite part of the day. I think my favorite part of the day is the morning commute. And I know that sounds insane. But man, am I wrong in that there is just something about the solitude of being in your car first thing in the morning with a hot cup of coffee, sitting in traffic, listening to something, whether it's your morning sports radio show of choice or a podcast or whatever that you listen to in your car. God knows nobody's listening to regular radio anymore, but you know what I mean? And I can't tell you how much I look forward to it. It's like, I don't even mind waking up early because it's like, I like that. I do a couple of things. Now, some mornings I have shit to do. Like today I had shit to do, which is why I was thinking about it. Because the solitude of my morning commute was interrupted by endless phone calls and shit like that. But anyway, man, that's I will, if I can, I don't even have my ringer on my phone. I don't take text. I don't take calls because you shouldn't when you're driving anyway. But I just kind of lock myself in that car, and it's a good 35 minute commute with morning traffic. I just love it, man. It's just the best part of my day. Maybe you have a morning wank in the shower. Maybe that's what you look forward to. I'm reminded of that film American Beauty, where Kevin Spacey, I believe, said that was his favorite part of the day, or the best part of the day. Everything got worse after his morning wank. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to get all this stuff. Kevin follows me on Grindr. No, you don't. No, you don't, Kevin. You don't follow me on Grindr. I'm not on Grindr. I don't even know what Grindr is. Is Grindr the gay one? There's like, man, I don't do dating apps and shit. It's no, I need to meet somebody organically, right? That's how I've always done it, because I don't play well in pictures. Like, I need to be in your face. You need to feel the energy. That's what I got. I don't do well in the digital age. Look, if I'm not wearing a hat, I look like a thumb, or worse, a scrotum, hairy ass scrotum. It's just not good. I'm on the Facebook thing. I was like, let's see what I get here. Facebook's got like some kind of like dating thing. I don't even know if you have to join, but I'm on the Facebook thing. No, it's like, first of all, I'm getting no bites. It's like, what? Hey, I'm not that bad, am I? I'm getting no bites. And then the people that are interested seem very nice. Let's say that. They seem very nice. I'm not kidding you. There was like a 67-year-old black lady who was like, this lady's interested in you. And I'm like, oh, God, really? Is this what the world thinks? This is what the algorithm thinks of me. She's probably wonderful. But I don't know if I'm ready to be like, the boy toy of some grandmama. I don't think that's... let's see here. Maddie, yeah, Grindr's the gay one. I know Grindr's the gay one. What's the other one? Grindr, Tinder? What is Tinder? Tinder's not gay, right? Tinder's just for pervs. Not pervs, degenerate sex people, which is apparently all of Gen Z now. Apparently Gen Z is, because they don't ever go anywhere and meet each other, it's all just about you're hot, let's fuck. And then they meet it's like, for a generation that, we didn't think was going to be that promiscuous because of the changes in the way they communicate with one another. No, they're worse. They're like have no standards. They're just, you're hot, let's fuck. That's how it works now. I ain't built for that game. I am not built for that game. Let's see here. What's this? See, look at this. Are you creating a real fans page? LOL. I don't even know what that is. I don't need to know what that is. What is that? Real fans page. I have no idea. No idea what that means. So now people are like, ha, that's funny. Real fans. Now I got to learn what real fans is. Okay. All right. Let's ask AI. You people, 30 seconds behind on the delay. AI, somebody said I should start a real fans page. I don't know what that is. What are they trying to say to me? All right. AI doesn't talk back anymore. It says, when someone says you should start a real fans page, they are almost certainly referring to OnlyFans, which is a subscription-based website where content creators... See, even AI doesn't know what you're talking about. OnlyFans. Look, if there was a market, I don't even do that. Right? That would actually become a job. Like, I do it, but not as much as I used to, because I'm an older man and I think, my sex drive might be down. But my point is this. There's money in that. If there was a market for me on OnlyFans, you guys don't know this, but, I am an untapped market. I will be the most gratuitous whore you have ever seen. If there was an opportunity for me to be a whore for money... Sexually, I'm speaking. I don't care. It's an act to me. I don't know if I do the gay stuff, though. I don't know if I do the gay stuff. I don't think gay for pay. That's always been. I'm a principled guy. I'm a whore. I am a principled whore. That's the problem. No woman wants this. There's no market for this. Market for dudes. Men are weird. Like, even like non-gay dudes who are just like twisted pervs would probably pay to watch me. God, could you imagine? Not while my mother's alive. Not while my mother or my son is alive. I promise you that. They're the two things. Suicide and OnlyFans. Not while my mother and son are alive. Neither. I think that's a good rule to live by. I think that's a good rule to live by. But I'm willing to be a whore in almost any other way. All right, what do you say we get started with today's show? That's enough dilly-dallying. All right, so look, we'll start out with the top stories here, okay? So Ebola, it's still bad. I don't know how bad, because I can't gauge anymore when something is serious, because the first time something is presented to us now, it's always presented as super serious. And then 10 days go by and the world doesn't end. And they're like, no, it's still serious. And I'm like, well, I can't be affected by the latest updates because you sold the whole farm on the first story. You told me this thing was going to be crazy. It's been 10 days and there's nothing. So screw you, Ebola. Anyway, Ebola's, it's a thing. So, look out. Don't wear Ebola. Be sure to drive in your car totally alone with a mask because, they're talking about Ebola. All right. Also, can I mention this? Here's the other big story from today. I don't give a shit about people stuck in caves in Laos. I don't. CNN is trying to make me care. I don't care about people stuck in caves in Laos. Apparently, there's a bunch of people who went into a cave in Laos and they didn't come back. Is this rare? I assume in those kinds of places, this shit happens all the time, and I cannot be, with everything else that's going on in the world, I cannot be interested in a bunch of people who shouldn't have been in a fucking cave in the first place. All right. So sorry, CNN. CNN this morning, it's on in the background. They're talking to some Laotian cave diving lady. Seriously, it's like a lady. She's like 60 and she's like tiny because all those people are tiny. I don't know what that's about. Nutrition, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, they're all tiny. She's like super tiny. She's like 65 pounds and 2'5", right? And she's like, and that she's talking in Laotian. And she's got a translator. And seriously, they interviewed her for a good 20 minutes this morning. And it was awful. Okay, here's why it's awful. Here we go. Pun's going to be racist. This is not racist. This is an observation. That is an ugly ass language. Those Eastern Asian languages, they're just ugly. And don't be like, oh, I suppose all white language. No, German is fucking ugly too. German. You can't be romantic in German or Russian or anything. Those are ugly languages. But while we're pointing out ugly languages, that like Asian dialect where everything sounds like you're being yelled at by a shopkeeper. That's what she did for like 20 minutes. And she was excited because she had done a good thing. But listening to it, I was like, man, why is she yelling at me? It's because she's so small. She feels she's got to project more. I don't know, but it was insane. I don't care about Laotian cave divers. Don't. This cave? Who sees like a cave in the middle of nowhere, like some third world tribal country and goes, I'm going to dive into that cave? And these ain't even tourists. These are locals who should know better, I guess. Anyway, I don't care about that. That's happened. They found one person. They got one person and a whole bunch of people left in the cave. See, this is a TV show. This isn't a real news story, guys. This is what I tell you about all the time. This is what news and the dissemination of crucial information has become. It's a TV show. This is not a big deal, but they got cameras there and there's people trapped. So drama. Let's put the... Ooh, we got one. There's still 7. How many more of the 7 are we going to rescue? How many will die on camera? Stay tuned. But first, here's a commercial about Carnival Cruise Line. Nobody cared. This is not a story. And CNN did it all morning. Laotians stuck in a cave. Are you kidding me? In other news, apparently the president is hiding out down there in the Situation Room. He's about to make a big announcement or he's about to do something big about Iran. Sure. He just says that stuff to Bill. Again, this is what happens with this thing. Remember like 2 weeks ago now? It was like, well, was it last Friday? Maybe it was 1 week ago. 1 week ago, it was like, peace deal. And I'm like, we're in a ceasefire, but we're still fighting. What do you mean peace deal? He's like, any minute now. And then Iran responds with, this is stupid. We ain't doing this. And he's like, we're going to bomb again. And then he doesn't. And then they bomb us. And then we retaliate. And he's like, we're still in a ceasefire. I have no idea what's going on there. Anyway, the latest is Trump is hanging out in the Situation Room. Apparently, some big decision is about to be made. There won't be. Nothing will change. I will say this, though, because, again, I don't care about all that nonsense. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that part of the world, and neither are you. And anything that you do know about it is because you watch Fox News or something. And you're just repeating what you heard some guy in a suit say, and now you're like, no, actually. All right, so here's what I do know. I know the gas prices are coming down. Again, gas prices, I always give you 95th and Roberts Road. That's where I get off the expressway, and that's where I look to see gas. It had been as high as $5.18 a gallon. That was like a week ago. It is now at $5.49 or $4.49, excuse me. $4.49. And this is what I always talk about, resist the normalization of things. $4.49. I got off and saw $4.49 and I went, well, all right. That's great. That ain't great. That ain't great. Paying $4 plus for a gallon of gas is nonsense. We were just paying, before this whole thing started, we were paying whoop, hiccups, getting the hiccups. Because I'm ranting too hard. Hiccups. Hold on, guys. $5.49, $4.49, or whatever it is not good. And yet the normalization of ridiculous gas prices make me look at $4.49 and go, well, that's better. No, it's not. Get it back down to $2.75. God, gas is so expensive. All right, so anyway, but it is coming down. Down is better than up. I don't know, it'll go up again. All it's going to take is an earthquake in Azerbaijan, and gas will go up another $1, and they'll be like, well, it's the combination of the strait and the earthquake that happened halfway. All right. And the other big piece of national news, I guess, that we need to talk about is that a federal judge has stopped the Trump slush fund. That's the $1.8 billion fund that he established. I guess it can't be a scandal if it's being done out in the open. I ain't even kidding with that. That is legitimately what I think the strategy is right now with the people who are running the White House. Well, it's not a scandal if we're doing it right in front of your face. So the payout fund, as it's being called. A federal judge on Friday barred the Trump administration from taking steps to create or operate President Trump's $1.8 billion fund. Why does he need what? Stop it. Stop it. This is not a thing. This is not a thing where the president needs $1.8 billion in petty cash to make bribes. It's only a thing if we've elected a mob boss. Stop it. Stop normalizing this shit. Federal judge on Friday barred the Trump administration from taking steps to create or operate President Trump's $1.8 billion fund until a hearing on June 12th. Oh, so it'll be back to normal on June 12th. The order covers any transfer of money into the fund, decisions on any claims, and disbursement of any payouts. Now, because I don't pay attention to this shit anymore, I'm not entirely sure what this fund is. Here's what I've heard. I've heard that this is $1.8 billion, of which a bunch of it will be earmarked as restitution for people who feel that they've been unfairly prosecuted for political reasons. Like the first thing that I heard about this, and it was probably, an MSNBC type announcement, but the first thing that I heard was they're going to be giving paychecks to the pardoned January 6ers, which no reasonable people thinks is a good idea. Now, again, because I don't know the nuts and bolts of this whole thing, I don't know what else it's for. I imagine if that is true, that portions of this is earmarked for January, then I guess the whole thing is bullshit, but I don't know. We don't need that. And a judge has said no, and that'll probably get overturned by more crooked judges or whatever. Again, no faith in any institution in this country anymore. It's going on about 10 months now of me having no faith at all. And don't forget, I didn't vote for this guy, and I certainly didn't endorse Kamala Harris either. I thought both of them were absolute garbage choices. But don't forget, when we got this second term of Trump, I sat here for at least 6-7 months going, we got to give him a chance. Just got to see how this plays out. And despite all of the nonsense from the first couple of months, the Doge stuff, I was like, well, let's just see if it works. Let's just see. You just got to give him time. We've given him time. The country's on fire. The country's on fire. Gas is $4.49. Oh, but eggs. Oh, my God. We got 5 cartons of eggs at my mom's house. I have no idea why we've got 5 cartons of eggs. I've been eating eggs like left and right. Omelets, egg sandwiches, just because eggs go bad, right? I'm like, we got to eat these eggs. A lot of eggs. Been eating eggs. Thanks, Trump. Trump eggs are now affordable. Gas is $5 a gallon, but all right. Okay, Al wants to talk about this one. All right, this is another one. We might get a $250 bill with Donald Trump's picture on it. Okay, so this is I'm not talking about this today. Someone in the chat room brought it up. Obviously, I know this story. This isn't going to happen. This is just one of those trigger things to spin out the petty. We got to stop being petty about this shit. This isn't going to happen. He doesn't have, first of all, it's illegal. it's illegal by law. You would have to change the law and it would take an act of Congress. And he just doesn't have the stroke right now to do that. He doesn't. He should. Theoretically, he controls all the major branches of government, but he doesn't. There's too much of a schism happening. So stop it. So they put this out, and I half think that he puts it out just to freak people because he's a troll. The president's a troll. We talked about Stephen Miller yesterday, him being a troll. This is troll politics. It isn't real. I mean, it isn't like anybody who can actually manage a troublesome situation. It's just somebody who knows how to get clicks, and clicks became votes. And now look at him. It's nonsense. He can't. I'm sure that he just did it to make people like, well, Matt freak out. And I'm like, this is not a real thing. Can't happen. A living president, a living person cannot appear on any U.S. currency. That's a law. And then there's another law. Oh, there's an old other law. The other law is that there's no such thing as a $250 bill, and that this would take another act of Congress to establish another form of currency. It's like wacky gift shop dollars. That's what this is. And by the way, do we need a $250 bill? I mean, I can't tell you the last time I saw a $100 bill. You cannot use in modern society a $50 or $100 bill anywhere. Try buying a slushie at a 7-Eleven and pulling out $100. My God, they'll look at you like you got Ebola. They don't want to deal with you. So I don't know what a $250 bill is supposed to be all about, but it's not a real thing. It's not going to happen. He doesn't have now. Look, if he was wildly popular, maybe he could get this done, but he ain't. This is stupid. It ain't going to happen. Look, we just got to sit this out. We got to put up with this guy throwing his name on things. We got to put up with this guy unfurling banners like we're in North Korea. It's just gross. It is not at all what the presidency is supposed to be. The president is supposed to be one of us. The president is supposed to be above us. He is supposed to be the titular representative of the people of America. He's not a king. He's not an oligarch or whatever. $250 bill. The self-glorification from this man. The narcissism. How do you people not repel against that? You're weird. But I ignore it because, again, I recognize it. It's just something designed to trigger the petty left. Stop it. Al says, we were talking about out at work where we make the ink for the currency. We were talking about that at work. Does Al make the... All right, cool. Al makes the juice. The juice for the money. Who's on the $100 bill? Is that Jackson or Franklin? Benjamin. All about the Benjamin. Is that Benjamin Franklin? Is that a $100 bill? I don't know. All right, let's talk about the big story today. Teen takeovers. Do you know what a teen takeover is? Because in Dallas, we don't really have this. We don't really have it in Dallas. Don't really have it in a lot of cities. Chicago suffers specifically from the phenomena that occurs called teen takeovers because they have a central location where everybody meets. There's the lakefront. There's, Dallas doesn't really, City Hall, there's not like this thing that everybody is drawn to. So this is not new. Throughout the history of Chicago, as long as there are people who have lived away from the lake on the first really nice night, first series of nice nights, people like to get in their car, get on the highway, and drive on down to the lakefront because it's just beautiful. Because it's just, the weather is great. There's a sweet little breeze. It's all parks and beaches and museums, right? The Chicago lakefront is the only city in the world with a major global waterport who said, we're not going to do any commercial water park here. This land, this beach, this front, the front porch of Chicago is going to be beaches and museums and parks, and it is all for the people, and it will never be shitty with steel mills and shipping and all that. That's up north and down south. That's now that's not that right, because Gary, Indiana, and all that. That's what all that was. Okay, but Chicago is beautiful, so we like to celebrate that when the weather finally gets nice. Because let me tell you, in January, the last place on earth you want to be is on the lakefront. So we did it. Look, I got people in the chat room that I've done it with. Kevin Barber's here. We've gotten in the car and we've gone down. I broke my ankle down there once at the aquarium. Sprained my ankle trying to jump up on a water breaker with a case of beer on my shoulder, and I fell back and I twisted my ankle. It was not good. 10s are Hamilton. Barney's like a $10 bill is a Hamilton. Yeah, I should be familiar with that. That's pretty much that's my zone. $20, $10 and $20. I live my life $20 at a time. That's not a joke. I do. I live my life $20 at a time. So anyway, we go downtown and we have fun. And, you run into people from other high schools. What are you looking at? Yeah, sometimes that happens. I don't know. This is the 80s, the 90s. We were all just drinking and most of us kept to ourselves. We would meet up with people also from our high school or whatever. But there were shit tons of people from other high schools. So that happens still. It has always happened. But now we have this added thing of social media where, if you remember about 15 years ago, the first sort of discovery of the power of social media were the flash mobs. Remember? All of a sudden, oh my God, you tell me 200 people could show up at one place and do a dance? Wasn't that nice? When it was just dances? That was fun. Well, now it's let's all show up and rob the CVS. It's not fun anymore. It's become a little bit too easy to gather people together, and I think that the ease of that has caused people to think about other things they can do when they all get together. It's not just about illegal underage drinking at the lakefront anymore. Now it's about, 10,000 students from various high schools all around the Chicago area meeting and then marching like some giant, protest march, creating havoc and stopping traffic, and the police it's crazy. It's crazy now. And I believe it is. There are two factors here as to why it's different than when we did it. When we did it, we were going down there just to drink, and there was no way that we could pre-motivate some kind of mass gathering. It was just us, and maybe word got around at high school. We're going to meet on the steps in front of the planetarium at 10 o'clock tonight, okay? You're going to be there, whatever. But now it's like, man, thousands and thousands of people are showing up in one location, and a lot of these people have beef, and fights are breaking out. It's the ease of the gathering that these teenagers have, but it's also the thing that I've been talking about here that I witness among teenagers now. It is that they don't know how to gather. They don't know how to be around each other and be cool because they have been raised in a world where the anonymity of internet discourse provides zero repercussions for the way they behave. So because they don't have to deal with their peers, be it from other schools and all that stuff, in the way that we maybe once did, hanging out at the mall, food courts, roller rinks, they don't do this shit anymore. So now it's just they get around each other and they don't know how to interact. Everybody's a troll again, and this leads to even more pushing and shoving and punches and gun violence, and because it's 2026. So there are a couple of things that are different about what's happening now. The ease of gathering. And I really think an entire generational shift away from being civil. This is not to say that the entire Gen Z generation are uncivilized. They're not. In fact, in a lot of ways, I think that they're much kinder than we are. But that doesn't really translate in any mass. Groupthink takes over. And you resort to your tribe, and your tribe is shit talking and trolling. And I just do think that is a difference. I worry. My great fear this summer is that I don't have any. Is my kid going to get to be around anybody his age? Is he going to be able to do anything? Or is he just going to be, once again, for the next 2 months or so, talking with people on Discord and shit? Like things to do, socialization things. And I don't even really worry about my kid as, a social object. His generation at large, I think, is less than other generations where it comes to being able to mingle with each other. But he's a very charming kid. So I've seen him, when he has to kind of relate to people. So I don't really worry about him being socially ruined because of this. But again, 30,000 foot view of the entire generation. Yeah, this is a problem. I don't think they know how to gather. I don't think they know how to be civilized human beings because they've never been raised in a place where repercussions are real. I've never been punched in the face. You need to run your mouth on the playground during a game of kick the can and get your mouth slapped so that you just don't run your mouth and talk to people like that. They don't learn that. They don't learn that on Discord. They don't learn that in chat rooms. So we have bigger problems. Anyway, this last weekend, Memorial Day weekend here in Chicago, there were two major teen takeover events. One happened on the west side, which is, I don't know how familiar you are with Chicago, over by where the Chicago Stadium is, where the Bulls play and stuff like that. Oprah used to do all of her production from the west side. There are areas of the west side that are reclaimed, if you will, Oprah and the stadium and all that, and they've got nice things. But then for the most part, the west side's pretty rough. You find yourself, we're going to talk about Riot Fest. Riot Fest is on the west side. The surrounding neighborhood of Riot Fest. Well, it ain't Frisco. It ain't Naperville. It's a little different. So the first one took over there on the west side. That was Saturday night. And police converged on the area. And there was an incident where a bunch of cops got run over. Some dude in the car wouldn't, they were trying to break everything up. Some guy in a car went a little nuts and ran over a bunch of cops. Pretty serious, but I guess they're all okay. So, then there was one Monday. Was it Monday at the 57th Street Beach in Hyde Park, which is troubling in that this is an area. Well, this is what I consider to be Hyde Park, the best neighborhood in all of Chicago. It just doesn't compare. There isn't another neighborhood that compares to Hyde Park. Now, what is Hyde Park? Hyde Park is the lakefront, it's beaches, it's museums, it's the University of Chicago campus, it's Jackson Park, it's Washington Park, it's Obama land. That's right. Oh, it's Obama land. It's where Obama lived. It's where he lived. It's where the presidential library is. It is an incredibly smart University of Chicago. There are more, at least when I was growing up, they used to say there are more Nobel Prize winners living in this 1 square mile than anywhere else in the world because it was the campus of the University of Chicago. So anyway, it's a sophisticated, smart, multicultural, very diverse, cool ass vision for America that I love. So when you tell me that the 57th Street Beach is being taken over by teenagers, I'm like, that sucks because I'd like to live in that neighborhood and this doesn't look fun. All right, so this is how that was covered. We'll go to, should we do WGN? Yeah, we'll show how WGN covered it so you can see what this is.
You deserve the best. At Harbor Freight,
and I'll tell you some of the...
We design our own tools with performance and durability in mind.
We don't need to hear about that. I'll tell you what some of the plans, what some of the city, the politicians, they got a fake idea. First, let's watch this. WGN telling us about the takeovers of last weekend. And by the way, the whole point of this is tonight. It's going to be nice tonight. Going to be nice.
Memorial Day holiday ended with another teen takeover in the city.
This one was at the 57th Street Beach, and Emmy Victor is there now with the latest on this. Emmy?
Well, Pat, I just spoke with the Chicago Police Department moments ago. They don't have any updates to share about this gathering here in Hyde Park yesterday. Video into our newsroom shows hundreds of teens gathering at the 57th Street Beach. Some people were even seen in handcuffs. It started with an alert from the University of Chicago Police, warning people about a teen takeover planned in Hyde Park on Memorial Day. That warning turned into a reality when hundreds of teenagers arrived at the 57th Street Beach yesterday for the unauthorized gathering. This was the scene along the lakefront yesterday after 6 p.m. Dozens of Chicago police officers were on scene trying to disperse the crowd. Video shows at least 2 people being detained. It also looks like a Chicago police officer might have gotten hurt. You can see other officers helping him walk away from the crowd. An ambulance did show up shortly after, but we still don't know if anyone was actually taken to the hospital. The large gathering even caused lane closures on DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Office of Emergency Management sent out an alert at 7:45 p.m.
God, look at that
drivers
cop!
to avoid the thoroughfare near 57th Street. This is the second teen takeover making headlines for Memorial Day weekend. A driver has been charged with attempted murder after allegedly striking 5 police officers with a vehicle at a teen takeover Sunday morning on the near west side. Authorities say the officers were working to disperse the crowd when someone in a blue sedan drove towards them. It remains unclear whether anyone was arrested at last night's gathering. We're reporting live in Hyde Park. Emmy Victor, WGN News.
All right, so that's basically what they look like. Now, I want to offer this. There were arrests at the 57th Street Beach takeover from a couple of nights ago. There were arrests. But we don't have any details, and I looked into it. We don't have any details on what those arrests were for other than, you know, you send a couple hundred cops to a situation where you're concerned because a couple hundred teenagers are gathering. Would those arrests, well, okay, so I guess the question I was going to say was, would those arrests have taken place if the cops weren't there? Well, no, of course not, because the police wouldn't have arrested them then. But I wonder what the city reaction, this heavy police buildup to what is really just a bunch of teenagers gathering together in one spot, is the reaction of the police, and is the idea that we need to fear these things and these things are horrible, is that adding to the tinderbox situation? Like we saw a kid wrestling with cops. Would that kid have, I mean, what happened there? What was the kid doing something objectively illegal? Was the kid doing something terrible and the cops went, get him, he's illegal? Or was it just a kid who said, get the fuck out of here, cops, and then the cops wrestled him to the ground and now there's an arrest? And, you know what I mean? Well, you shouldn't have said, get the fuck out of here, cops. Oh, stop it. You know, I don't know that a gathering of bored teenagers is necessarily a reason to call in the National Guard, but that is how we approach these things. The city, here's what the city is saying they're going to do. Mayor Brandon Johnson, who is quite possibly the worst mayor in American big city history, Brandon Johnson says that, we got a plan. We're going to start doing block parties. We're going to start doing city-funded block parties. Of course, they're going to be, whatever. They're going to be alcohol-free. They're going to be lame. You're going to do these. This is not going to work. The city, it's like, you know, mom. It's like saying, hey, we're going to go have a hotel party after the prom. Mom finding out about it and going, no, you'll do it at our house and me and grandma will be here. Are you out of your mind? Block parties. I mean, I suppose it is something. It is giving them something to do. All right, here's, let me give you the story here. This comes to us from Block Club Chicago. We are on Teen Takeover alert for tonight here in Chicago specifically. And let me tell you something, city of Chicago. Here's another thing that I hate. They've taken their police scanners off live scanners. It's all digital now. So you can't listen to Chicago. One of the greatest things in the summer, I used to love listening to the Chicago police scanner and just listening to all the mayhem going on in the neighborhoods. It was great. And it was so entertaining that the Chicago police went, we can't let people hear this. We can't. So there's not even any way to really in real time monitor these situations now, other than a smattering of YouTube channels that have people out there filming and stuff. But that's not the same as listening to the police calls. Teen Takeovers revive Chicago's debate over curfews and parental accountability. Parental accountability is something I want to talk about too. Larger near West Side and Hyde Park gatherings have alder people again. Doesn't that sound like Game of Thrones bullshit? Aldermen. We have aldermen here. Large near West Side and Hyde Park gatherings have alder people again weighing stricter rules to combat them, while the mayor sees programming and prevention of counter event. The mayor's got no ideas. Anyway, after several massive teen gatherings on the city's south and west sides, renewed calls for increased parental accountability and stricter curfew laws are once again taking center stage. I seem to remember, did you guys pay any mind to curfew laws when you were a kid? Like when you were like 16, 17 years old, did you give a shit? I don't remember caring about curfew laws. I don't remember curfew laws ever being an issue. Maybe that's because I was home. Maybe it's because I don't know. But curfew, like, so if you were to say to me, does Chicago have a curfew law for teenagers? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Let me see. That's something you can ask AI, right? All right. Does Chicago have a current curfew law for teenagers? Let's see. I don't know. I think yes, Chicago has a strict citywide curfew law for teens. Under the current Chicago Municipal Code 816-020, for those of you keeping track, unsupervised minors aged 12 to 17 must be indoors by 10 p.m. every night of the week. So if you're 11, you can be out running the streets? Isn't that a weird 12 to 17? Shouldn't it just be anyone under 18? Dude, this is Chicago. We got like 6-year-old gang members. You can't allow them unfettered access to the nightlife. Teens aged 12 to 17 must be indoors between 10 and 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. every day. Well, it kind of screws you with your 5:30 a.m. paper route. All right. Children under 12. Oh, okay. So here you go. So if you're under 12, you got to be inside by 8:30. 8:30 under 12. That's a good rule. No 12-year-old should be outside when, it's dark out. Certainly not without, parental attention. So let's talk about the parental attention. I showed you a video from a couple of months back about some parents. This was back in the fall, I think. We have the teen takeover problems when it changes from summer to winter and then changes from spring to fall or spring to summer. But I showed you some parents in the Kenwood area, which is a neighborhood adjacent to the Hyde Park area. That's where the 57th Street beach takeover occurred. Parents in the Kenwood area, they found out, and we watched the video. The parents decided that they were going to do their own takeover, and every parent in the neighborhood decided that they were going to walk around the block. And if they saw any of their kids out on the street, yay! That was good. But again, I think that was maybe just a viral moment. Now that the dust has settled, I think that was maybe just some parent going, I bet we could get clicks if we do this once. Can't do it once. You got to do it every time. I don't know if that's still going on. There are stories about kids as young as like 11 and 12 years old being out here running around downtown Chicago with groups of hundreds of other kids. Let's go back to the story. On Sunday, 5 Chicago police officers were struck by a teen driver while dispersing a teen takeover crowd on the near west side. On Monday night, 3 people were shot and 53 were arrested in connection with separate teen takeovers in Hyde Park. The large gatherings, which garner national attention, overshadowed the fact that for the first time in a decade, there were no homicides in Chicago over Memorial Day weekend. All right, look at us. We're not killing people on holidays anymore. Progress. Addressing the weekend's large unauthorized teen gatherings, Mayor Brandon Johnson called on parents to stay aware of where their children are. Some parents are just bad. Some parents just don't give a shit. Some parents just don't care. We must strengthen the interventions that we know work. Direct parent engagement, trusted community outreach, youth programming, violence prevention coordination, and proactive neighborhood-based responses, Mayor Johnson said. But in the wake of the weekend's takeovers, proponents of stricter curfew laws are once again pushing for more accountability and tools for the Chicago police. See, I don't know which side I come down on because I don't know that more aggressive police action is going to do anything other than cause more problems. I mean, if you remove the fear of what you're worried about happening, and the fear is, they're going to burn Michigan Avenue to the ground, they're going to do all kinds of, if that is your fear, that hasn't happened yet, but if that is your fear, man, I don't know that you should be making decisions because, I don't know that worried or frightened people, because if that is your fear, then your response is, more police, and, we make a law, no gathering of more than 15. Draconian measures that limit the freedoms given to every natural-born American citizen, and some that aren't. Freedom stripped away from us because of fear. These kids are allowed to do this. They're not allowed to. I mean, that's honestly the problem, that 2,000 kids gather in one spot and they're not prepared for 2,000 kids at one point. Is that necessary? It's if you run the parks, like if you're the park manager and suddenly there's this many kids showing up, you want to be like, oh shit, we're not prepared for this. But is that necessarily illegal? Whole bunch of people gathering together? I mean, I don't know. But again, it's because of the way we live and the power to gather. We didn't used to have that. We didn't have, we just, we just go looking for people, just walk around a mass of people. Hey, Bob from Fremd? It's just, but now everything is digital. So the ability to mass, mix that in with a generational deficiency in being able to be one-on-one. And yeah, we've got the team takeover problem. So we'll all be watching tonight. Let's see what happens. Could get crazy. Let's see. All right, now let's move on to the story from yesterday. I wanted to talk about this here at the top. I talked about the Great American Picnic State Fair Festival, whatever. I don't know, whatever it was. Big concert that was going on in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Now, the announcement was made over the weekend. Here are the bands who are playing. And we did it as a segment yesterday because the bands all sucked. And it was funny. It was like, this is a garbage lineup. Who the hell wants to see this? This is embarrassing. This shouldn't be on the National Mall. And I told the story about how, I remember when I was a kid, when they would do these, Reagan did a couple of these big National Mall concerts around 4th of July or whatever. And I remember he had the Beach Boys. And I remember as a kid going, well, that's kind of lame because, the Beach Boys, to my generation at that point, I hadn't discovered Brian Wilson yet. I didn't know. So I thought they were just kind of lame. But, I mean, now taking a look back, the Beach Boys are a rock and roll Hall of Fame group. And their leader, Brian Wilson, is one of the most highly respected singer, artists, writers, and producers in history. So that was like an A-list group that we were just a little bit, that's lame. None of these people who were announced for this thing are A-list. They're all D-list. Some, it would be very generous to call them D-list. CNC Music Factory. So we did the list. We told you the original lineup. Here's the original lineup. Let me share it with you. These are the people who were announced to be playing the America's 250th birthday Great American State Fair on the Mall. Okay, the featured performers, we had Martina McBride. We had Young MC. We had CNC Music Factory. We had Vanilla Ice. We had Millie. Millie Vanilli. Or maybe we have Vanilli. I'm not sure which one killed themselves, but one of them did. The Commodores. The Commodores were the shocking one for me because the Commodores are A-list. Lionel Richie. You get Lionel Richie out there? The guy's got like 50 Grammys. Lionel Richie and the Commodores. That's legitimate A-list band there. And they were added to the list. They were there. We also had, Vanilla Ice, Millie Vanilli, Martina McBride, Young MC, CNC Music Factory, the Commodores, Morris Day, and The Time. Jungle Love. Odie, Odie, yo. Flo Rida. I don't even know who that is. I just know it's a fun name. That's a good name. Florida, right? Flo Rida. What does he do? What did he do? What one hit that I heard like a million times in clubs over like a 3-month period and then never heard again song does he do? I don't know what song Flo Rida does. Bret Michaels. Of course, we all know Bret Michaels. Every rose has its thorn. That's Bret Michaels. All right, so that was the announced lineup. They're all dropping out. They've all pretty much since yesterday I was making fun of all of these bands. So there's been some problems there with the Great American Picnic or Festival or whatever. Great American State Fair. Here's what we got. Of those that I named, there's only 3 who are still on the bill. Hazard a guess, what 3? Well, Vanilla Ice. He will not be deterred. Vanilla Ice is going to play this. Vanilla Ice's representation has confirmed that he is contracted to perform on June the 26th, stating that he is proud to help celebrate America's 250th anniversary. There you go, MAGA. There you go. You got Vanilla Ice on your team. You know what's crazy? Kid Rock ain't even involved in this. I mean, Kid Rock might be the Commodores are still there. So Kid Rock can't be but Kid Rock's not even involved in this. Isn't that weird? Didn't you think that? Didn't you just by default go, oh, and Kid Rock? No. Vanilla Ice, he's still on the bill. Freedom Williams. Freedom Williams is a member of the CNC Music Factory. It does not look like the rest of the Music Factory will be showing up, but Freedom Williams is going to be there. He's going to walk out. He's going to put a boombox on a bar stool, and he's going to hit play, and he's just going to dance. That's what you're getting. Did we figure out what CNC Music Factory's song was? It's that one that goes, everybody dance now. It's just going to be that. It's going to be him. He, by the way, is like a 65-year-old man now. He's just going to be there like bouncing. That's what you're getting. You're getting Vanilla Ice. You're getting Freedom Williams and Flo Rida. That's right. Flo Rida ain't going to walk away from a payday. This is probably a pretty good payday. Flo Rida's like, I don't care about politics. You kidding me? I'm Flo Rida. Nobody knows who I am. I'm going to get paid. He's going to go straight from there to Tallahassee Fest or wherever. I imagine a guy like Flo Rida can probably play a whole bunch of fairs around the state of Florida, right? Just because of the name. All right, now let's talk about the people who have dropped out. Martina McBride, who that one's got to hurt because I would think that MAGA, there's a lot of like a lot of southern rural stuff, and she's pretty much the only country artist on there. Martina McBride has dropped out. She wrote an extensive thing on Twitter or Instagram or whatever where she's like, I didn't know what this was. They just said, you want to okay this schedule of tour dates? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I like Washington in the summer. That'd be nice. She says she didn't know what it was. She withdrew after stating that she was misled into believing that the event was nonpartisan. Martina McBride says that politics are not a part of her music and she likes to affect all people in all ways and that she does not want to be a part of anything that could be considered partisan. So Martina McBride, she's out. Bret Michaels. Now this is surprising to me because, again, Bret Michaels, I would think that he's one of those guys that's like, look, I imagine that there's a lot. Look, I imagine a lot of dudes who like, would like be all about seeing Bret Michaels live now in 2026. I bet you a lot of those dudes voted for Trump. I'm just saying that's kind of, because I think stupid people like Bret Michaels. I think stupid people like Bret Michaels, and I think stupid people like Trump. And I just think that that's a big base for him. So this is actually brave and fairly risky for Bret Michaels. It says the Poison frontman pulled out, stating that the event had evolved into something much more divisive than what he agreed to participate in. All right, Bret, there you go. Here we go, Commodores. There's no way, I'm like, the Commodores, really? The Commodores have backed out, stating that they choose not to publicly affiliate with any single political party or movement. Good for the Commodores. And they're just a cool band. We should all just be able to enjoy the Commodores. Seriously, if you guys are like, man, Pug's really about the Commodores, just go jump into a Commodores playlist on Spotify, dude. They're just so good. Like, no matter what you think of Lionel Richie, dancing on the ceiling. 1970s Lionel Richie with the Commodores was something special. Commodores are out. They backed out. They say they're not political. They don't want to do anything with this. Morris Day in the Time, a guy who I imagine probably took time off from the tire shop that he works at in order to do this. Morris Day, he's clarified now on social media that they will not be making any appearance at this festival. And that was it. Who's the other one? Somebody said, yeah, it was Morris Day. Morris Day. Hold on. Morris Day said something he just put out on Twitter. I'm not a part of this. Or this is, oh no, it was, this is a no from me. That's what Morris Day put out there. This is a no from me. That's what they're referring to. Clarified on social media that they would not be making the appearance. Young MC. I can't even do it. Bust a move. There's like 4 songs in this whole lineup. There's like 4 songs that you're there, and you got to sit through like 12 songs in between the 4 that you're going to recognize. Young MC, he withdrew upon learning that the festival was backed by the Trump administration. All right, he came right out. He's like, yeah, it's Trump, me not Trump, me no like, me no play. Oh, how will MAGA survive without Young MC? Seriously. But, he's saying it like it is. Milli Vanilli. Now this is the weird one. Milli Vanilli disputed the announcement entirely with original vocalists First of all, original lip syncer maybe. Milli Vanilli disputed the announcement entirely, with original vocalists clarifying they were never contacted to perform and never agreed to perform. So it leads me to believe if a lot of these bands are saying, hey, we were never really signed up for this, and Milli Vanilli's not the only one, and most of them are claiming that they were not told exactly what this was or who was paying for it or who was backing it. Most of them, a lot of them have said that. Why would they put that? Is this how uncool the Mega Machine is? My question is, why would they put that embarrassing lineup up publicly saying, look at our cool concert? Because that was never a cool concert. That was always a really bad concert of really mid-tier one-hit wonders. So why did they ever put it out in the first place? Only to have a day later, those really lame-ass bands, with the exception of the Commodores, those really lame-ass bands, then all go, yeah, we don't even want to be affiliated with you. In other words, the really lame bands that you got to play your thing, those lame bands think that you're lame. They don't want to be involved with you. So why would they put that out in the first place? This is really embarrassing. Is it embarrassing or is it more chum? Right? I always say, the petty shit. How do we get the people distracted and all churned up with shit? Is this another one of those things? I don't know. Terrible bands. Not even Kid Rock. The absence of Kid Rock from that lineup makes me think that maybe, I don't know, maybe this was always just let's announce a bunch of bad. No, that can't be it. Although I do want to know why Kid Rock isn't involved, right? Wouldn't you think that he would be the headliner? All right. Speaking of, let's see. So that's the All-American. Yeah, that's the All-American Picnic. Now, here you go. So that's a really lame-ass concert that absolutely nobody who's cool or anybody who's really into music is ever going to want to go, right? Nobody's buying tickets 6 months ahead of time to see Poison and Milli Vanilli, or not even Poison. CC won't even appear. No, it's just Bret Michaels. Nobody's doing that. All right. There was an opposition concert announced, though. Yeah. Right on the heels of this, while this whole thing was announced on Monday, Bruce Springsteen and Tom Morello, they got up on stage and they announced an opposition concert. Holy shit, you guys. It is so much better. It is just such a better concert. And this concert is political, deliberately political. These bands are going to play a free concert and they're going to scream the whole time about what an idiot the current administration is being led by. All right, so here's what we got. It is Tom Morello and Bruce Springsteen made a joint announcement where it happened. The pair made their joint announcement live on stage at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. during the final stop of Springsteen's Land of Hope and Dreams tour. While performing together, Springsteen gave the crowd a sneak peek of the event, telling the audience that they were hearing about it for the very first time. The formal media rollout and press release from Tom Morello followed the next morning. All right, where is the full announcement? Hold on, I thought I had that. All right, let's see who's going to be playing. Well, first of all, Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine, and Bruce Springsteen. All right, right there. I'm sorry, I don't care if you gotta like Bruce Springsteen. Okay, you're saying that. What do you like CNC Music Factory? The fuck is wrong with you? Okay, so you don't like Bruce, you don't like Rage, that's fine. Do you like Milli Vanilli? Stop being a what about moron, okay? We are specifically talking. This is a lineup of A-list rock and roll influencers, Hall of Famers all, not a single one-hit wonder in the group. So compare that to the Nerd Fest being headlined by Martina McBride and Bret Michaels. Tom Morello, of course, of Rage. Tom Morello with members of Rage Against the Machine. Okay, so there you go. Tom Morello. I'd see Rage, or at least, some variant of Rage. Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen. I love how because it's Tom Morello's concert that Bruce is like, yeah, no, you can be the headliner. That's cool. That's just how chill Bruce is about it. Yeah, you can be it. I don't care. I don't need that. I'm Bruce Springsteen. I think most of the people are here to see me. Or are they? Because joining Bruce Springsteen and Tom Morello at this concert, this opposition concert, how about the Foo Fighters? How about Dave Matthews? How about Joan Baez? Okay, whatever. I guess you gotta have something. Brittany Howard. Never heard of her. Oh, wait, I know who Brittany Howard is. Isn't Brittany Howard from, she's from a band. She's got a big voice, right? Anyway, I don't know. Brittany Howard, she's going to be there. Dropkick Murphys. Yeah, I love the Dropkick Murphys, man. Nah, you see them in a bar, right? I've seen them twice. I saw them in Boston. That's how legit I am of a drop. I didn't go to Boston to see Dropkick Murphys. I was there, and he's like, you want to see a show tonight? I'm like, who's playing? And we Dropkick Murphys. All right, Tom Morello, Bruce Springsteen, Foo Fighters, Dave Matthews, Joan Baez, Brittany Howard, Dropkick Murphys, Jack Black, and Cypress Hill. All right, so that's the opposition concert. Oh my God, there's more. Holy shit. Joining that group, we've got Killer Mike, someone named Grandson, Taylor Momsen. It's an actress, right? Isn't Taylor Momsen an actress? I know. She's also a singer. Matt Cameron. Okay, so like with the other concert, like you had a lot of dudes like Bret Michaels. Like Bret Michaels is not necessarily, like it's not Poison. Like we know Bret Michaels from Poison. It's just Bret Michaels of Poison. Well, this is where you got Matt Cameron. Matt Cameron of, what was Matt Cameron? Pearl Jam. Not original, but he's a member of Pearl Jam. Soundgarden, original member of Soundgarden, Matt Cameron. The Lindas. DMC. All right, so now, whatever. Daryl McDaniels, DMC. You can't get Reverend Run to join you? We know about, your DJ and all that. Also, the Neighborhood Kids and Shepard Fairley, who is apparently a DJ. All right, there you go. That's the opposition concert. By every measurable, it just absolutely destroys the MAGA Dork Fest that has completely fallen apart because nobody cool, nobody culturally significant wants to have anything to do with these people. That ought to tell you something. Now, I know it's easy, especially if you're dug down into the whole MAGA thing. It's easy for you to go, Hollywood celebrity push. Fuck you. You don't get to listen to Foo Fighters anymore. Fuck you. You don't get to do that anymore. Enjoy your CNC Music Factory song because that's pretty much all you got. All right, so there you go. Yeah, a little bit angry about that. That's all right. Hey, guys, I always tell you about, a big UFO guy, and one of the main points that I always bring out with the whole UFO thing is if there are people from somewhere else, they're way better than us. This is the main thing that we have to wrap our mind around. And better, relative term, I guess, but smarter, technologically advanced, all of those things. And how do you know? I'm like, well, obviously, because they can get here and spy on us, and we can't do the same. We can't do the same. We can't. What do I always say? I say we can't even get off a launch pad 10 out of 10 times. And you want to act like we should be firing at alien visitors? We don't know what it is. Let's fire at them. Dude, don't fire at them. Don't fire at them. They have gotten here. That means that they got shit that we can't understand. So don't fire on them, stupid. Stop living your life in fear. All right, so we can't even get off the launch pad 10 out of 10 times. Brings us to Blue Origin. A very important thing happened last night. It's significant now because it didn't go quite as well as people wanted. But Blue Origin, this is Jeff Bezos' attempt to, bring humanity closer to the stars. Everybody's got one. Dude over in England's got the Virgin thing, and Elon's got his thing. Bezos got his Blue Origin. Now, what makes Blue Origin a little bit different is that they're all using different rocketry techniques. Now, Blue Origin is all in on what they've termed the New Glenn rocket. The New Glenn. The New Glenn rocket is going to be this revolutionary reusable rocket that Blue Origin will be able to use and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's the whole promise of the New Glenn rocket. So last night, there's a big launch. There's a manned launch that is scheduled for next week. Was scheduled for last week. But last night they decided to do a little bit of a test. They wanted to fire up the engine. So they put everything on the launch pad there. And they did a simulation, a launch simulation. They were not going to launch. Essentially, all they were going to do is fire the engine and see what happens. Well, here's what happened last night. This is the New Glenn rocket, Blue Origin, testing the engines for their hyped big. This is a big launch next week that was supposed to be. There we go. There it is. Look at that. All right, they hit the button. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. 1 week later, there'd have been people in there. Look at that. Guys, we can't even get off the launch pad 10 out of 10 times. This wasn't even an attempted launch. This was just, let's start the engine and see what it sounds like with the new muffler. Whole thing explodes. All right, so there you go. Just another reminder to us Earthlings, should you run across an alien from another planet, don't fire on them. Don't fire on them. I bet it didn't take them months to just launch off their pad. The New Glenn mission, which was set to launch next week, it was a manned mission. Never mind. We got to rebuild the engine and figure out why it exploded before we can put any people in there. Thankfully, nobody was injured there. This is the other thing. This is the other thing about us. Our scientists know that we're not good at this. Our side, the guys who are actually there, like you see that big explosion and you're like, oh my God, what about the workmen? Nah, before they touch the button, every single one of them is in like a cement box. They all get it. They know. They're like, this might not work. They're not even confident enough. See, back in the 70s and in the 60s, when we used to lose people on the pads with these terrible things, they were optimistic. They thought, we could probably do this. No, we're at the point now where they're like, we're just not good at this. All right, before you hit the button to start this thing, everybody get in their cement box underground. So everybody was fine. There were no casualties, nobody injured, but the damn thing did explode, and it sets back the entire New Glenn Blue Origin missions indefinitely at this point. All right, here's what we're going to do here. We're going to take a quick break. Oh, my God, it's already 1:30. Let me take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to have Maddie on with us. She's going to regale us with whatever it is that's happening in Maddie's world. Then we're going to come back. We'll talk about the White House. We'll talk about Riot Fest. We'll talk about summer fun. We'll talk about stuff. We got a whole bunch more to do. But I am going to take a quick break, so please give me a second here. We'll be back. Give me about 5. This could be about 5-6 minutes, okay? And when we come back on the other side of this, it'll be Maddie with all kinds of fun stuff. Back after this. All right, we're back. We are back. That wasn't too long at all. That wasn't bad at all. All right. Before we get the liberal leanings of Maddie in here, I want to address some of my idiot, radicalized, far-right morons. Call them that lovingly. Byron. No, let's go with Barney first. Of course, it's Byron and Barney. They're like that. Barney's like, I'd watch the shit out of a Kid Rock Vanilla Ice concert. Okay, not gonna react. Time out. Let's just time out. Because that's the music that appeals to you. I mean, if that's, then you're not a music guy, right? I mean, you're probably not, and you don't define yourself as a music guy, and that's fine. That's totally fine. That is like saying that you would rather have, a White Castle hamburger than a nice cut of prime rib. That's fine. If you're not into prime rib, you're into like a little shitty hamburger. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that, because that's relative. That's musical tastes, right? Okay, so he would like that. That's weird to me. I'd be like, really? Like you would like prefer, like, I don't want to do whataboutism because I accuse everybody else of that, but yeah, you enthusiastic about that? Like, oh my God, let's plan all summer to take that trip to go see Kid Rock and Vanilla. Really? It seems like the kind of person that would plan to go to a concert. I don't know what I'm thinking there. Anyway, let's move on. Byron. Here's Byron. Byron says, this is one I really wanted to dig into. Two of the biggest retarded liberals in music. Now, I think maybe he's talking about Tom Morello and Bruce Springsteen, but I'm not sure. But I'm just going to go off assuming that he is. Two of the biggest retarded liberals in music. Okay, well, Tom Morello is a leftist, radical, always has been. Anybody who knows anything about Tom Morello knows what he is. He's a burn it all down radical. Bruce Springsteen's not a retarded liberal, dude. And if you see Bruce Springsteen as a retarded liberal, then that's just another example of how fucking radicalized you are. Bruce Springsteen is a left-leaning moderate, always has been. His main concern is the working class in America. It always has been. But if you're someone like Barney, who relentlessly carries water for the oppression class, you see anybody who has a pedestal and speaks out against the oppression class as a dirty liberal. Because you're broken, Dark Lord. I wouldn't call you the Dark Lord if you weren't broken. Bruce Springsteen is not a retarded liberal, okay? There are a lot of retarded liberals. Bruce Springsteen is pretty much a normal guy, but because you're so broken and so committed to the act of carrying water for the oppressors, you cannot see that. You're so far on the right. You are the white man equivalent of Samuel L. Jackson in Django Unchained, Byron. That's who you are. You are the white. Now, Byron, I need you to go out because you're good at this stuff. I need you to go out and do an AI of like your face superimposed over Samuel L. Jackson. You are the white guy equivalent of Samuel L. Jackson in Django Unchained. That's who you've become, Byron. They're not the same person to me, obviously. They're two individuals, and I have relationships with them, in different ways. But they think the same. As far as the chat room goes, they think the same. And then out of nowhere, you get Frank. Frank just comes like he's crazy too. And then on the left, who do we have on the left? We got Adam in the chat room on the left. Adam coming with, his stuff. I have a penis and a vagina, he says proudly. No, he doesn't, but it's that kind of energy. And then Maddie, of course, we've got Maddie. Everybody else is normal. I like that. I love the balance in my chat room. You guys are awesome. Now that I'm thinking, I like that. That's a good balance. All right. You know what? Speaking of, I'll let Barney finish since, if I'm going to let you guys trigger me, I got to let you guys have your. Barney says, I wouldn't take a trip, but if they were playing at the WinStar for a reasonable ticket price, I'd go. Now, are you the kind of person that's motivated when a band you see coming through town? Are you like, oh, I got to go see that band? Or you are just like why? Why would this particular? If you're telling me the reason that I would go see this is because this music, these guys, I think they're really good and it appeals to me. That's if that's your reason, that's your reason. Music is relative. I am a pizza snob. I am a sausage snob. I am a music snob. I just think I'm better than most people when it comes to those three things. Can't help it. But that's part of being a music snob. Man, I used to work with some of the, I'm not a music snob, really. I like what I like. I'm not a music snob. I used to work with some real music snobs, man. I used to work in alternative radio in Chicago in the 1990s, and I was a part of a music curation group that decided what songs would be added to the playlist. And you should have, man, we had 90s 28-year-old alternative people were some of the biggest music snobs. So when I throw that out there, I guess I should be a little bit more accurate, because I've seen the apex of music snobs. All right, let me find my phone situation here. I was charging it. That's why we've been delaying. I accidentally let my phone go zero. All right, we're okay now. Let's check in with Maddie. Maddie's going to regale us. I don't even know what she's going to talk about today, because I told her, I said, I trust you now. I don't care. Whatever. We can hang and bang on anything. All right, so here comes Maddie. It's not Maddie on a Monday.
Hello and happy Friday.
There it is. There's Maddie. What's on Maddie's mind today? Hi, Maddie. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Well, obviously I have been following this whole music lineup for the whatever picnic in the park bullshit lineup, just like you have. About things. So I'd like to provide a little bit of context, if I could, about exactly what's happening here and why. Okay. First of all, that 9-act lineup that you were talking about yesterday, 2 of the acts had already dropped out by that point. Like straight off the bat, Young MC and Morris Day had already said, hey, we're out, right? And literally while you were on the air yesterday, I think the third person to drag up was Milli Vanilli. Now, in the last 12 hours, every act is now dropped out, with the exception of Vanilla Ice and Flo Rida. CNC Music Factory also dropped out yesterday afternoon, too. Now, people are literally losing their minds. MAGA is fake outraging their way into an absolute nervous breakdown, mostly because of Martina McBride.
Okay, wait, time out now, because I'm going to I need you to explain this to me, because I'm not paying close attention to it as you obviously are. What do you mean MAGA is freaking out? Like, are they turning on these acts, or are they upset that acts hold on, or are they upset that acts they love have betrayed them? What is the MAGA anger about?
As far as what the Twitterverse is telling me is that they really could give a shit about the rest of them. The only person that they are vehemently attacking right now is Martina McBride, which is outrageously unfair, right? Like, she was one of the last ones to drop out. First of all these other acts dropped out well before that. And they are, yes, they're doing the things that they normally do. It's the fake outrage, it's the pearl clutching, it's the, now it's the political influencers, the content creators that have some motion on social media.
They know how to catch fish. We are the fish. They know what we react to. Yeah. Let me read to you Martina McBride's full statement so that we can have some context as to what they might be reacting to. Martina McBride says, I would like to talk to you and clear the air. I'll not be performing at the Great American State Fair on June the 25th. I was presented with an opportunity to perform at a nonpartisan event, but that turned out to be misleading. I asked lots of questions and was assured this was nonpartisan. This was a nonpartisan event that was meant to celebrate all 50 states. In my mind, I thought this was a great way to celebrate the states and also bring people together in the way that only music can. I saw it as just a bigger version of so many other state fairs I've performed at over the years, celebrating community and what makes each state special. Sounds fun, right? Wholesome even. Yesterday, things started changing. And what we were told is, in fact, not what was happening. I've spent my entire career singing songs about real people with real issues. I've been blessed with the opportunity to be a voice for those who have felt like they didn't have one. It greatly upsets me that any fan who has been moved by my music may now feel like I'm abandoning the meaning behind these songs. I assure you that is not the case. I appreciate every single fan who has reached out. I hope to get back to the DC area very soon. Martina McBride. That's pretty good, I think. I think that's pretty good.
I'm glad you read it because, she, to her credit, I think she said something very real and very classy. She didn't, say, fuck this, fuck Trump, I'm not a Trump supporter, whatever. She tried to explain her point of view on this. And there is some context that needs to be understood behind this, right? And I'm going to get to that in a second. But I find it very unusual that people are only targeting her, that MAGA influencers, right-wing, podcasters, news media, and all kinds of things are all coming after her and her alone. There were 9 acts on this playlist, 9. 2 are standing up still. We'll see if they fold like cheap folding chairs too. They might. Who knows? Who knows at this point? This list didn't even come out 36 hours later. People are dropping off like flies. And there's a very good reason for this. And it doesn't have anything to do with political drama, which is what the right would have us believe right now, and that they are caving because of leftist political pressure. Okay, that's what they're putting out there. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. So many years ago, in anticipation of the 250th anniversary of our country, a congressionally chartered body was created. It was called the America 250 Commission. This, and it was supposed to be nonpartisan representation from both sides. We're going to create this 16-day event to celebrate the 250th birthday of our country. Therefore, it was supposed to be about America, about Americans. On the side, Donald Trump created an alternative organization called Freedom 250. Freedom 250 is what is booking these acts. They lied to these people and told them this was about America 250. And Freedom 250 is about nothing more than getting money and grifting off of the America 250 concert and entire celebration. And that is why these artists are now saying, hey, I don't want to be a part of that. I was happy to be a part of America 250, but what you guys are doing is disingenuous. You are lying. And you lied to me. And 3 or 4 of these people had no knowledge of the fact that they were even on the lineup specifically.
Yeah. Let me explain this, because I've actually booked these kinds of concerts. We tried to put together a very big concert thing here in Chicago back in the 90s. That's where my famous got to hang out with the Foo Fighters stories come from. Anyway, here's how these things work. Every summer, there are probably 1,000 bands that had one hit on the radio 20 years ago who do the summer festival circuit. So all of these bands, they're not like, you're not calling Martina McBride and saying, do you want to play in Washington, D.C. on this date? You are calling a booking group that puts together these tours for these groups. Now, the less important these individuals are, like, you're not dealing with Foo Fighters or Bruce Springsteen, you're dealing with CNC Music Factory, right? So the less important these people are, the less say they have in how their summer schedule plays out. Most of these groups, when they were presented by whoever their management or their booking agency is, most of them, when they were presented with the layout of their summer gigs, they just saw Washington, D.C. and okayed it. It wasn't a deal where they are specifically signing up to play this specific event. This was just a date that fit in their schedule. Now, my question is this. Did they originally start out with this lineup? Like, is this the lineup, the one that fell apart, the lineup that was announced that we all laughed at? Were those their first choices? You know what I mean? Like,
no,
how many other people did they approach first who went, like, didn't they go to Willie Nelson first? And wasn't he like, nah? And they ended up with CNC Music Factory? That's what I want to know.
Well, and maybe not. We will. I don't think we'll ever know truly what their. I guess what their A-list or wish list would have been. But I mean, we also saw this during the campaign run, where during Trump rallies, he was playing music that he didn't have permission to, and those artists said, "Hey, you can't use my song," which is why he landed on YMCA, because they were the only band that said, "Yeah, use our shit."
Do you know how much money the Village people have made in royalties because of Trump?
Sure.
Oh my God. They're like, fine,
sure.
whatever. You think a bunch of gay men from Greenwich Village are MAGA? No, but they're cashing those checks.
Sure. And look, if that's what they're okay with and that's what they're comfortable with, that's fine. But the bottom line is that these people who obviously have some ideas about where they want to perform and the group of people that they want to perform in front of and what they want to be aligned with, this is not it for them. They backed out. I didn't see any of them taking any harsh political stances in their messaging about why they backed out. They just simply said, we were misled.
They don't want to be divisive. That's it. That's the most direct political thing that any of them has said, was that we've determined that this is a divisive event and we don't want to be a part of that. That's it.
Right. And I find it very strange that the only person who's taking any serious political heat about this is Martina McBride. Like, you guys don't okay, I get it. Maybe these other people just don't matter to you, but it's really bizarre to me. You of the 9 acts, 7 have canceled, and the only person that's going to get dragged for this is, of all people, Martina McBride. Now, the most interesting comment that I saw so far was from a political commentator for some like Breaksite News, one of those smaller news organizations. She said that, hold on, let me find this exact comment, because I thought it was absolutely so unbelievably ignorant, because of course all of these people are saying, I'll never support her again. Really? Do you understand what supporting an artist means? Like, okay, how many concerts of Martina McBride's have you been to? Let me see your merch. How much merch do you own? Do you pay for her downloads on Spotify? Do you buy her CDs? Like, fuck off. I guarantee you that 99% of these people don't support her anyway. If you think supporting her means listening to her song that plays on satellite radio, that's not support of an artist. That's you just listening to radio, right? But they're all coming out saying the dumbest stuff ever about how they're never going to support her again. I'm sure that it's not going to affect her in any real significant way. But the one that really got me the most was, there is this political comment. In fact, you know what? I am looking to see.
Can we just, first of all, about Martina McBride, just let me put this little pin in the conversation. I don't even know who the fuck she is. I can't even picture Martina McBride. I know that she's a name, but she's not Kelly Clarkson, or who's the other chick, the blonde girl.
Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, Carrie Underwood. She's not Reba. I mean, she's Martina McBride. She's like one of a million anonymous country singer women who have had a string of hits over the years. I can't even picture her. Faith Hill.
Well,
I don't know who she is.
Here we go. I found it. Okay, so one of Martina McBride's, and I'm glad you said that, because one of her biggest breakout songs, which again is very old, like it's not, she doesn't have any current releases that are coming out, was a song called Independence Day. Now, obviously, on its face, it might seem like a patriotic, anthem to America and country. But it is not. It is very similar to, what you've spoken on before about how Bruce Springsteen had some songs that politics kind of adopted and said, oh, this is super fucking patriotic. That song is literally about a woman who kills her husband to get away from domestic abuse. And so Katie Pavlich, who is on News Nation. She's a political commentator and a host on a News Nation show. She said, the woman who got rich and famous off the song Independence Day won't show up for the 250th anniversary of America on the National Mall. Isn't this pathetic? And I obviously had a very big response to that, but it just goes to show you how disconnected they are from this artist's material in general, yet they feel so confident in dragging her through the mud because she decided for herself that she doesn't want to participate in this. That song doesn't have anything to do with patriotism or MAGA or Democrats or Republicans in general. It is about a woman breaking free from domestic violence.
Let me read to you Brett Michaels' statement. We read Martina McBride. Brett Michaels is a surprising one. I would think that he would embrace the whole MAGA concert tour thing. It just seems like a natural for him. Brett Michaels, he dropped out. He said, hello to all my awesome friends and fans. I wanted to jump on here real quick and talk about the upcoming Freedom 250 event in Washington, D.C. When this opportunity was originally presented to my team, you mean whoever you're dating this week? That's he justifies his girlfriend as
Him and his makeup artist that applies his eyeliner.
right. When this opportunity was originally presented to my team, it was described as a celebration of our country through music and a chance to honor our veterans, active military, first responders, teachers, and hardworking Americans from all walks of life. As the son of a veteran and coming from a family that is proudly served, that is something I've always been honored to support. As many of you know, I've spent my entire career bringing people together through music, positivity, and good vibes. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think he's kind of cheesy, but I guess you have fun when you go see Brett Michaels. You can't not have fun, can you? It's silly. You're drinking beer. You're outside. You're probably near a lake. I'm just saying where I think Brett Michaels plays mostly. Festivals. Unfortunately, what was presented to us, Team Brett Michaels, as he didn't say that, as a celebration of our country has evolved into something much more divisive than what I agreed to be a part of. Concerns have also been raised regarding the safety of my fans, band, crew, family, and myself, including threats that are completely unfounded and unforgivable. Because of that, I've made the difficult decision to step away from this performance. Brett Michaels.
Well, and like I said, these people have the freedom of choice. They can decide to do what they want to do and what they don't want to do. Largely, as you pointed out, most of these acts were one-hit wonders. I think Brett Michaels nowadays does like small casino runs.
Yeah, and they make a great living. Brett Michaels probably makes $1 million a year doing these crazy little shows, and God love him. I don't begrudge him that a dime. But this is turned into a decidedly political, for one side only event, and I think that if you're Brett Michaels and you want to play in Colorado, or you want to play in other places, you might want to, not necessarily be aligned.
If he wants to play at the WinStar in Shreveport, let him do it. Who gives a shit? And if he doesn't want to go and do this thing that he thinks is divisive because he was misled about who the actual organizing party is, who cares?
See, let me make this argument for you. I wonder if Brett Michaels is a little bit concerned about what he's seen from Kid Rock. Because I would argue that Brett Michaels and his affiliation with Poison is bigger than Kid Rock. Poison was a very big band for a very long time. From I would say like 86 through like the early 90s. Right up until Nirvana and grunge came in. I mean, Poison was a relevant band. You can marginalize them as not being great artists or whatever, but they were a popular, successful band. Kid Rock had a very similar run. Kid Rock was also big for about 5 or 6 years and then pretty much faded away to the festival circuit. I wonder if Brett Michaels looks at what has happened to Kid Rock, where his concerts, there's not anybody that isn't MAGA that will go to a Kid Rock concert now because what it means to support Kid Rock. And I wonder if someone like Brett Michaels looks at that and goes, we share a lot of the same fans. I don't want to have to only play Florida carnivals. I mean, maybe that's the metric that Brett Michaels is looking at.
Well, and who knows? Because I mean, sure, we know Brett Michaels as the front man to Poison, but I mean, let's also, again, try to be honest brokers here. Michael clung to some relevant career-ish for many years after that too, because he was on MTV and the Rock of Love thing and several. So, I think he's trying to be a businessman. He obviously, leveraged what fame he had into some lingering ons of careers, whatever, if you want to give him credit for that or not, is not what I'm here for. What I'm saying is that he's smart enough to know who his audience is. He's smart enough to know who he wants to continue to appeal to, whether that is, appearances or concerts or, you know, reality TV shows or MTV or whatever that is. And again, just because someone doesn't want to play in your fucking party doesn't mean that you should go at them in this fashion. Like,
No.
this is absolutely insane. It is fake outrage at that. And I truly believe that too. We witnessed this fake outrage from one side of the left. And I'm not going to say that the left isn't also guilty of the same thing.
Oh, you guys
They
are just as bad. Yeah.
they
Okay.
are.
Good.
They
Yes.
absolutely
All right.
are. I'm not here to say one way or the other, but I'm saying that right now, the people who are doing this to this level are absolutely the right wing, and they are. But like I said, mostly targeted at Martina, which I think is wildly unfair. And you know, it's just dumb and it's silly, and it really shows you where we're at as a country. But I have a really interesting story, and this has nothing to do with politics. So,
do you see what you
so-
did there? You just transitioned and you wouldn't even let me get in a word in edgewise. Now,
Oh my gosh.
God,
Okay.
Jesus.
You have more to say about Brett Michaels. Keep on.
No, we were just going to transition. All right, Maddie, what else you got?
Okay. So I sent you a link if you want to click on this. So I stumbled on this story and I found this to be fascinating. On May 20, let me go back to my notes here. Okay, yes. On May 21st of this year, a lady by the name of Kelsey Findler embarked on a trip. She is going to be rowing from the coast of California to Hawaii in a solo mission. And she is vlogging this and documenting it on her Facebook page. Now, I sent you the link so you can see. She is about 8 or 9 days into this trip. And I think that this is an amazing just example of what humans can do when they really put their minds to it. And I had to, and obviously that intrigued me because I thought to myself, how long is that? She's out there by herself for however long this takes. So the current world record for having rowed by yourself from California to Hawaii is 86 days.
86 days of rowing by yourself in open ocean waters? That seems nuts.
Yes, sir. And she's going to try to break this this record and try to trim this down to something to the tune of about 75 days. But yes, imagine being out there by yourself with just your cell phone in a very small, her boat is about 21 feet long. She's got this rig, it's all set up with, you know, like how she can, I guess, distill water. And so she has fresh water the whole time, rowing from California to Hawaii. And she's documenting all of this, which I think that this is just an amazing test of the human will and human power. And she's a young woman, age 31 years old. She has been, for 13 years, she's been a whitewater rafting, I guess, team leader, whatever they call that. And so she's just fascinating to me. And I think that this is an amazing thing. And I can't imagine being on a boat by myself in the middle of the ocean for 80 something days.
No,
That's
you know
insane.
why you can't imagine it? Because it's a really stupid thing to do. This is I know you're applauding her and the human spirit and all that stuff, but she's going to row a boat from California to Hawaii. Nobody needs to do that. This is a meaningless thing. Nobody needs to do this. She's just going to go out there and risk her life for, you know, her own glory to prove to herself that she can do it. I just want to say, if she dies tragically, I need to stay the same way I always am. She dies tragically, I'm just going to be like, yeah, that's what we expected would happen because people aren't supposed to do that. So I wish her luck. I hope that doesn't happen. But when it does, I'm not going to be surprised.
Well, you know what, Pugs? That cynical point of view from you is a little surprising for someone who is so pro space exploration.
No, that's different. That pushes
humanity
humanity to the next level. This does nothing for us. This is me. I started the show out today, Maddie, telling you I don't give a shit about Laotian cave divers because we shouldn't be diving in caves. So when they get stuck down there, I'm not like, oh, we got to do everything to get them out. No, what we should have done is told them before they went that you could die down there. That's the same thing with this lady rowing a boat. Space exploration is not the same thing.
She's also doing this as a fundraiser for the Whale Foundation and currently has raised $15,000 towards her $50,000 goal. So, you know, again, people do things for different reasons, and if she feels confident that she can do this, which she already did this once, but she did it with a team of 4 people.
Wait,
and
she
they
did
took
it before. Oh, she did it with a team. She's doing it solo. That's the
She's doing it
difference. Okay.
solo this time, and they did that trip in 40 days. And so now she's decided to take this on solo, which is significantly harder. But why not applaud people who have the kind of mental fortitude to do, crazy things that we as mere mortals can't imagine? And I do support this. Now, if something bad happens to her, I'm certainly not going to thumb my nose up at her and say, well, you got what you got because you got it. Like, that's crazy to me. Look, if she feels confident enough to do this, and she clearly has this planned out, I mean, she's already done this once, but just with the company of 3 other people, I think she's probably going to be fine.
Cool. You're not her mom or her dad or her boyfriend or whatever, man. I mean, I just see this as unnecessary. I get it in the, in the 30,000 foot view. Hey, look at this human doing something a human shouldn't be able to do. I'm just simply pointing out that when it fails tragically, we shouldn't all clutch our pearls and say, what a shame. She knew what she's getting into.
She's not the only person who's ever done this. She's the 3rd woman to ever do this. And other people have obviously done this because there is a record.
Wait. So people have done solo rowing from California to Hawaii?
Yes.
So what's the angle here? She's the first female?
Yes.
Well,
Women
can do anything a man can do. We need to stop with these records. You're the lib femtard. You should be pushing away these records. We shouldn't be distinguishing between male achievement and female achievement, right? If a man's already done it, a woman can do anything a man can do. Why are we celebrating this?
Well, first of all, I don't think that I said that this is just such a great achievement for women. I think I said something about this being interesting for humans. But okay, let's take that angle on it. Fuck yeah, go women. I don't know what to say here. I thought this was impressive.
I'm not impressed.
I'm very excited for her. If this is something that she's planned to do, she's out there, she's vlogging this. We're going to get to obviously see her challenges. She's being super authentic in her videos. Right now, she looks really sunburned. That looks kind of uncomfortable, but okay, sure. That's fine. All right. Let's go with your take then too.
No, we can both have opposing takes, and we can both be, we can sleep well tonight knowing that we both feel like we've defended our side. Here, I want to show you some pictures of her. I pulled up some pictures from Google, but those are like the worst pictures to use. So here, let me switch over to the Bing. We're going to see, what's her name? Kelsey. What's her name?
Kelsey Findler.
Kelsey Findler. We're going to see her boat. All right. Is that her? Yeah, maybe that's her. Let's see. Ooh. All right, let's get a look. Gosh darn it. Hold on. I keep doing the wrong one. It's my fault. I'll get rid of that. I got too many windows open here. All right, here we go. Her boat is not a normal look. Let's see, we could do some images. There we go. All right. Do you know what she looks like? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I have her Facebook page pulled up in front of me.
Okay, so we're looking at a picture now of 3 girls on a cool ass modern rowboat. That ain't like any rowboat I've ever seen, but then again, I've never. Which one is she? Are you looking at the pictures? They're not showing me one picture of her. Showing me a team.
Well, you got the stuff from when she did this before. The current stuff in her videos are on her Facebook page.
All right, hold on. I want to see what she looks like. I want to see
young blonde-haired girl.
Well, I would like to see what she looks like. All right, her name is Kelsey. What was the last name? Give it to me again.
Findler, Pfendler.
All right.
Findler.
All right, maybe this is her. All right, there she is. She's on a boat. She looks like Stop sharing. Can't do it. All right, never mind. Anyway, we don't need to see her. She looks like a fine young girl, and all I can do is express my concern for her and her dad. I feel bad for her dad. That's what I'm going to say. Her dad does she have a dad? I don't know. We don't know enough about her. All right, what else? You got anything else for us here on this Friday? What is the weekend looking like for you, Maddie, down there in Louisiana?
I gotta do some things around the house, and very, very mundane sort of things. I got some people coming over Tuesday evening to do some stream casting with me and some stuff.
Hey, that's fun. Yeah, Maddie's going to get into doing some more stuff. I hope to be doing stuff with her as soon as I get more of a normal schedule. All right, Maddie, thank you so much. We'll probably talk on Monday, okay?
All right, sounds good.
There she goes. That is Maddie. She is our voice from the left. She's got I'm not impressed by that. Look, anytime, look, I'm not a danger seeker. You guys know this. Every time somebody gets themselves in trouble in a hot air balloon, I say, why are you going in a hot air balloon? Look, a risk for me is getting on a commercial airline jet. That's like, okay, this is a risk. This is a risk that I'm willing to accept. I'm not going in a hot air balloon. I'm not jumping out of an airplane. We watched that woman a couple of days ago in Germany who built a paraglider in her garage and then went up in the air and got run over by like an airplane. I don't need that. That is not, the life is risky enough. I drive on the south side of Chicago. But I suppose for some people out there who are maybe younger and a little bit more adventurous in spirit, there you go. Good for her. So some chick, Kelsey somebody, she's rowing a boat from California to Hawaii. It's already been done. She's a girl. That is an interesting point though, right? I mean, why? I don't understand why feminists celebrate achievements from women. We should be past that. And I say this as somebody who is very feminist. I believe that women are just as capable of doing everything. Smartest person I know is a woman. The most capable person I know is my mother. I mean, so I'm not one of these guys that's like, there's a chick flying the plane. No, chicks can do everything. The only thing that I still think is worth comment if a woman is able to do is like weightlifting. Like really, that's the only thing that is different between men and women. Men's bodies, when it comes to moving a boulder up a hill, is probably the odds-on favorite to win that competition. But in almost every other regard, speed, fluidity, well, I guess speed, right? I guess there's never going to be a woman that's going to beat Usain Bolt. It's about muscle and, bone density and shit like that. Oh, wait, are we pretending that doesn't exist anymore? Are we pretending that there isn't a physical difference between the power output of the male form and the female form? Is that all? Just be normal. Just be realistic. Just be realistic, women can do anything that a man can do, except in a boxing match. I think in a boxing match, I might go with the guy. So when women do these things, I don't mind it, whatever. But I do like to point out to people that, actually as a feminist, you promoting this only reinforces the stereotype that women in general can't do what men can do. Adam says you're no feminist. Yeah, well, I'm no psycho-feminist by your fucking definition of it, you retard. See, I say things like retard. I don't care because I'm a moderate. Adam's like, you're no feminist. And then he goes on to say, you just think you are, like when you think we shouldn't celebrate racial achievement. Yeah, I think that's also reinforcing negative stereotypes generationally. Sorry, I know you want to be like, look at how good we are. We let a black guy do this. Shut up. We should be celebrating letting black guys do things in 2026, Adam. That's my whole point on that. It's absurd. But, all right, let's see here. What else do we have? Wondering what is it exactly that would make me, in Adam's view, what is like being a feminist? Deciding that women in general have absolutely no worth? Because that seems to be something that the left has been about that I've pushed back over the years. The left is now, with the whole trans thing about, do we not even notice that when you promote this blurring of what we all understand to be reality, that there are two fucking genders, when you blur that, the person who you're victimizing are actually women? Or is that too MAGA of a point of view? There are two genders. See, this is a very moderate, there are two genders. There are people who are trans. There are people who do two things that we don't fully understand yet, but we're willing to scream and yell at each other like we've got it all figured out. There are things we don't understand. It's a very real thing where people feel that they're in between. It's been forever. But that doesn't mean that there's now suddenly a third thing. They're either born with a penis penis or a vagina. What's going on inside of you is not about the actual genitals that you possess. It's about something else. And that we need to understand. And that we need to be compassionate about and try and figure out. What is this? Is this a real thing? I think we know it's a real thing, but it doesn't mean there's new genders. And every time you try and make a new gender, it seems to me that the only person who gets marginalized even more are women. But Adam's the feminist. Feminist. Fuck. How? And that's another thing. You know, being called a male, being called a feminist is like a bad thing. I like that I'm pro-woman. I like that women should be able to be everything that men should be without any kind of, look at what the lady did, which is what Adam and people of his ilk want us to do. I just think that reinforces negative stereotypes about gender superiority. But that's me. And not believing that there's 15 different genders and not believing that women should be celebrated for doing something that women or people have already done, that makes me anti-women. Adam wants to again. I'm confusing sex with gender. No, I'm not. Dick and balls, vagina. There's nothing to confuse there. There's one or the other. Okay? What I'm suggesting, Adam, is that what you and your ilk are so certain of right now is fucking incomplete. And if you would just shut up and stop fighting the way you've been fighting, and I'd say the same to the people on the right, the people who just don't even, it's not a thing at all. Just be a man. Those people are wrong too. My suggestion as a reasonable person in the middle here is something's going on. We don't know what it is. Probably has more to do with mental states and, your psychiatric wellness or whatever is happening there than it does about there's actually 6 genders. No, there's not. There's men and there's women. And then there's something else that's happening that we don't fully understand. So stop acting like you have all the fucking answers. Oh, Adam and I just had sex. That was like sex. We just banged. All right, let's go. Let's see. What else do we want to get into today? Okay, so let's do the Joe Rogan thing, because this is another thing. Got to correct the left. The left took a victory lap yesterday. I'm no Joe Rogan guy. I think Joe Rogan is who stupid people think is a smart guy. I've always said that. That doesn't mean that Joe Rogan is stupid. That means that Joe Rogan is above average intelligence and he's got hyper curiosity, which is a good thing. But Joe Rogan is not like really smart about the minutia of things. Joe Rogan is as smart as the Wikipedia page he just read before he went on and brought and streamed or whatever he does. But the people who listen to him, they think that he's like a Nobel laureate. No, he's not. He's an above average smart guy who's articulate and curious. But we've elevated him into some sort of, whatever. So yesterday, when Joe Rogan went on he did a show yesterday with just it was one of the Joe Rogan shows that I enjoy because I enjoy the MMA aspects of Joe Rogan, and he's very smart with that stuff. And he had John McCarthy and Josh Thompson on yesterday. John McCarthy is a longtime MMA referee. He is he's one of the icons of early UFC. Big John McCarthy. And Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson is a fighter, a wily fighter. I don't know if Josh is a former world champ, but he certainly did knock on the door a number of times in his career. He's no longer fighting, but it was Josh Thompson, John McCarthy, and Joe Rogan just sitting around doing an MMA-heavy conversation yesterday. Okay, so when I saw this, I was intrigued to listen to it anyway, because that sounds like a really high-level, deep conversation about the current state of MMA and, the different rankings and all that. So I was intrigued. But then I started seeing the headlines. Joe Rogan lists reasons why he's against White House UFC fight. So we got this UFC fight happening at the White House. They're building it right now. We've probably seen the pictures of it. I'll show you some pictures here in a minute. Why not? I'll show them to you now. They're building this big structure there in what used to be the back lawn, I guess, of the White House. I don't even know. They've done so many different things. It's like a Dave & Buster's now. Our White House is just basically a Dave & Buster's. But here, this is, I guess this is what it's starting to look like. They're putting they're building an outdoor. Didn't that used to be lawn? Didn't that used to be beautiful lawn where like presidential dogs would run around? And now it's, like I said, now it's a Dave and Buster's going in. So they're building this UFC fight. And, Dana White's a big Trump guy and they're friends and all that kind of stuff. And, there's a number of UFC fighters who are very pro-Trump. There's a number of UFC fighters who are very anti-Trump, which, is credit to Dana White that it's not like he doesn't allow his guys to say whatever because there's a number of them. But they're putting on a UFC fight on the property of the White House next week, the 12th, Sunday night, the 12th. It'll be on Paramount. You'll be able to see it. There are some pretty good fights. There are some pretty good fights on this card. It's a reason to watch. I'm going to watch. It's on Paramount. I already paid for Paramount. I'll get that. By the way, that's the other good thing about UFC. It used to be, twice a month you had to pay like $70 for a pay-per-view. Now you just get Paramount for like $10 a month and you get all of the fights. It's pretty good. Pretty good deal. So I'll be watching that on Paramount. There's a couple of title fights. There's an interim heavyweight fight. There's a unification lightweight title fight. These are big, important fights for people who make their career in the UFC. One loss can set you back years. So you take every fight very seriously. Joe Rogan did not criticize the UFC doing a fight at the UFC the way it was presented. The left took the victory lap. The left wanted to be like, God, look, even Joe Rogan thinks this is stupid. Joe Rogan thinks it's stupid for MMA reasons. Joe Rogan, John McCarthy, and Josh Thompson never once said anything about the inappropriateness of holding a UFC, which is what it was spun. It was a lie. People were out there, look, even Joe Rogan's against it. And that's misleading because it leads you to think that the problem most of us have with this is that it's just highly inappropriate and it kind of trashes what the White House is. The White House is supposed to be our Buckingham Palace. It is supposed to be the people's house where the duly elected president sits and makes all the major world decisions because we are the last remaining superpower. I'm going with that. I know China would disagree. I just think it's a bad look. Again, it's a bad look. I'm going to watch it because it's happening and I can't stop it from happening, but it's a bad look. That is not what Joe Rogan was talking about yesterday. Joe Rogan yesterday on the show was talking about how he's against this. He told Dana from the very beginning that this was not a good idea. Now, why did Joe Rogan explain or try to convince Dana White not to do this fight at the White House? Because outdoor fights are bad for fighters' careers. That's what this is about. So if you read a headline yesterday that Joe Rogan was trashing this, it's not for the same reasons that the left is trashing it. It's for completely different reasons. In fact, Joe said he thought it was kind of a cool idea. However, his issues are there are going to be fighters who are going to fight in conditions that are not uniform to the other fights that they've had, meaning there are problems when you fight outside. There are bugs in the lights. That's a big concern that they're having. They're trying to come up with ways they're going to utilize giant fans because in a treed situation like this, when you set up giant lights, you're going to have thousands of bugs in those lights. And those fighters are going to have to fight with all of these bugs swarming around. Also, the humidity of this not being an indoor climate-controlled arena. Most fighters train for months and months for a fight, and they expect specific conditions. That's not what you're going to get here. There's not even a roof over this thing. And those were the complaints that Joe Rogan had. Not that this is a bad look. I'd have loved for him to have that take. I would have loved for people to have actually seen the real problem with this, which is, I don't give a shit about these dumb meathead fighters and whether or not it affects their career. That's Joe Rogan's lane. What I care about is I'm an American citizen and it looks like they threw up a carnival at our White House. Like this is some Target parking lot in June and we're going to do the community festival. It's embarrassing. Anyway. All right, there you have it. So Joe Rogan was not slamming the White House UFC fight. He was simply saying that from fighter perspective that this is not good. And there are titles on the line here. People will lose titles and it might be because they're gassed because they're not used to fighting in the humidity or because the bugs got in their way or maybe they ran out of gas because of the pesticides they were going to use for the bugs. That's what they were talking about. Normally for something like this, they might use pesticides if it was a concert or something, but because it's athletes who are going to be gassing themselves under these lights. They want to keep the air as pure as possible. So they can't even do that. So fans is what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and blow the bugs away from gathering at the lights that are being erected for the UFC carnival happening at the White House. It's embarrassing. All right, let's see. What else do we got here? Riot Fest. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Riot Fest. This is such an awesome lineup, man. Riot Fest is coming to Douglas Park once again here in Chicago. Last year, I think there was an issue. Douglas Park is this really cool park on the west side of Chicago here in Chicago. It's really big. It's mammoth. Chicago City of Parks. We got a shit ton of parks. Yeah, New York's got one Central Park. We've got like 1,500 tiny Central Parks. Anyway, Douglas Park is a great park. And every year, Riot Fest, see, I remember Riot Fest when it started. Riot Fest was sort of, it was a concert. It was almost, if you will, a reaction to the presence of Q101, which was the alternative rock station in Chicago. Q101 came out of the box as the second alternative rock station in America. You had the one KLSX in Los Angeles, and the same company that owned Q101 was watching that. And we knew for a while that they were going to switch. Like, yeah, they're going to drop a new format in this town. And it exploded. And it exploded concurrently with the rise of grunge rock and with the rise of Pearl Jam and that shift in music. That shift in music away from Michael Jackson, Ace of Base, and New Kids on the Block to Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots, and Pearl Jam, right? There was a real sea change in music. Q101 sort of, as anything that's new and interesting, it is put on a pedestal in the beginning, and then over time it's like, man, they're playing lame music now, man. They're just corporate. So as I recall, the origins of this festival was in direct response to what was seen as an over-commercialization of the new alternative music format, right? That's sort of what Riot Fest began as. And it was just local Chicago bands there in the beginning. It was just really cool local bands that couldn't get any attention from Q101 or WXRT. It has grown. It has grown to one of the best concerts, summer festivals in America. And they announced the new lineup for 2026. Riot Fest 2026 is going to take place September 18th through the 20th. It is returning to its longtime home of Douglas Park. There were some issues last year where they moved it, and then they moved it back, and then this and that and the other thing. All right, here's the lineup. All right, so here are your headliners. Pretty good. Not too bad. Now, I'm more of a guy that's going to be there for the undercards, but okay, so the headliners for this year's Riot Fest in Douglas Park: Tool, Alanis Morissette, 21 Pilots, and Pierce the Veil. No idea who Pierce the Veil is. Maybe I'll have to get familiar with Pierce the Veil. I'm familiar with all the other ones. I just not Pierce the Veil. We're also going to have, look at this. This is such, oh my God. This is such a great card. Riot Fest will also feature this year Morrissey, Iggy Pop, Elvis Costello, the Pixies, Rise Against, Alkaline Trio, the All-American Rejects, Nas. I'd love to see Nas. Let's see what that's like. Patti Smith, Sugar, like real Bob Mould Sugar, Social Distortion, Bad Religion, Sex Pistols, Public Image, Sex Pistols, and Public Image Limited. Oh my God. Those are the top undercards announced for Riot Fest this year. And I'm telling you, that's like the original headliners, or at least the original dream headliners for Riot Fest. I am not looking at the chat room because I can almost promise you that in the time that I've been speaking, Adam has done some research on Riot Fest and is posting about how I am wrong about what I remember when I was here. I am certain of that. I won't look at the chat room. Let's see. Who else do we have? Bright Eyes, The Format, Taking Back Sunday, Pennywise, Descendants, The Beths. That was that. Adam likes The Beths. Santa Gold, Trickery, Twin Peaks, Motion City, Mom Jeans, Bass. I don't know any of these bands. Less Than Jake, Guar. And this will get me out there. Bowling for Soup. My guys. Our Bowling for Soup guys are out there. That'll be fun. That'll be good. Who else do we have here? Then there's a whole bunch of other like really cool hipster bands. I'm looking at this list. I don't know any of them. Slick Rick. What is he, 80? Afro Man's playing at Riot Fest. Boy, he's been in the news lately, huh? Who else? Anybody else? No, I guess that's about it. Special guests. Oh, they've got special guests. Oh, this is funny. The Insane Clown Posse are gonna be there. Insane Clown Posse and an on-site, in-person weather forecasting appearance by legendary retired Chicago meteorologist Tommy Skilling. Oh no, that's perfect. That's a draw in Chicago. You tell me you're gonna bring Tommy Skilling out from retirement, to come out on stage before the Insane Clown Posse and give us the weather. That's fucking punk rock. That is punk rock right there. All right, there you have it. Very excited about that. I'm going to Riot Fest this year, if I'm still here. I don't know if I'm still going to be here. We'll have to see. All right, let's see. What else do we want to run through today as we wrap up this Friday show? Should we do our 3 vids? That's right. 3 videos. 3 pieces of video that I want to share with you and that we'll break down. First of all, let's go to the world of sports. This is funny. This is funny because we know that athletes are full of bullshit. We know that when, a professional, slick, veteran quarterback, let's say, goes to a new team and gets interviewed by the press and, the gangbang in front of them, they're like, hey, what do you think of your new team? That quarterback can be expected to be smooth as butter because he's a pro. He's a pro quarterback. I'm just happy to be in a city with a great football tradition. Like, you know what I mean? They say like that kind of shit. That's what you get. Then you got like rookies. Then you got like the Gen Z rookie, or not rookie, but maybe a younger fella. This guy in particular is younger. And then you'll get asked the same question and completely, see a different side of the pro athlete. One of these guys is lying and the other guy is being more honest. And that's the situation that we have from Minnesota Vikings camp, where Kyler Murray, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals, is now the quarterback there. You would expect Kyler Murray to be QB1. I mean, they have JJ McCarthy. JJ gets hurt. There's promise. JJ has his moments, but I got to get rid of Adam. All right, here we go. Here you go. This is it. I'm back of the Riot Fest started at 2. No, it fucking didn't, damn. That is the first of what you now know as the corporate Riot Fest. Riot Fest was a name that was started by the Metro in the early 90s. You fucking twat. But go ahead. Look it up. Yes, it grew into something big. In the current modern form of what Riot Fest is, this big, bloated, well-funded concert, is not the same thing as what was happening back in the 90s, dude. God damn. I didn't even know. I was on a different page, and I'm like, I just know that Adam right now is fact-checking me because, he doesn't do the eye test or the life experience test. He's one of these stats guys. Try and talk sports with Adam. Everything's like, but he's got a .4 WAR. The fuck .4? He's the most clutch hitter in the game. But it's WAR. Stop it, man. Jesus fucking Christ. Riot Fest has been a concept in Chicago music circles since the early 90s, since the rise of Wicker Park. And it was all local bands. Yes, it's grown into something different that maybe they plant the flag now in 2005 is saying this is the first. God damn. Anyway, I love you, Adam. That's fun. You know what that is? That is an example of the dopamine. See, I seek out these things because you allow me to erupt for your own entertainment, I hope. But you allow me to erupt, and then I get a nice little dopamine buzz. Riot Fest started in 2005. The Dead Kennedys, the Germs, and Agent Orange were the big ones. It was basically punk music only. Yes, it was. And not in 95 or 2005, Adam. No. It was when the Exit and the fucking Metro and all the Wicker Park places. See, that's why it's in Douglas Park, dude. Go look at the Wicker Park scene and see when that started. Adam and I should do a show together. But he would have to know that he's allowed to scream back at me because I respond well when people scream. I don't like it. It doesn't spin off. Like if you're gonna let me scream at you like that, then I gotta let you scream at me. All right. No, I wasn't most assuredly. Oh God. You were the condescending. You were. I know your life more than you were most assuredly. God, you're so irritating, and you always have been. You always have been from the very first moment. You were a troll caller. Thank you, Adam. All right, I gotta get too much dopamine. Too much dopamine from my guy Adam. They played at the door until like 2009. You're talking about the original. It wasn't just the door. It was the empty bottle. It was a number of clubs. And I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Jesus, fuck. All right, not doing it. All right, let's do our 3 videos. So the first one that I want to show you here, this comes from Minnesota Vikings training camp where they've recently added Kyler Murray to the quarterback mix. And Kyler Murray is the pro veteran. They asked Kyler Murray how it's going with J.J. McCarthy in the quarterback room there, and Kyler Murray gave you the answer you would expect from Kyler Murray. Then they went to J.J., and J.J. had a little bit different take. Here we go.
With JJ to this point?
It's been great. It's been great. Obviously.
All right, I don't know if you heard the question. The question is, can you describe your relationship with JJ to this point? Now, you have to understand, JJ thinks he's the starter. And then in the offseason, they bring in this guy. And this guy now thinks he's the starter. And I think everybody in the North, the Bears are my guys. So I'm paying attention to it. Everybody in the North knows it's going to be Kyler Murray. It ain't going to be JJ McCarthy. So the question to the new quarterback is, what's your relationship with the old quarterback like?
With JJ to this point?
It's been great. It's been great. Obviously, I know he's a younger guy, so any way I can help him. Obviously, I feel like I've played 7 years now, going on 8. So I'm considered a veteran, even though I don't see myself as that. Give him any knowledge that he needs. Again, we're both competitors, and I know we both want what's best for the team.
Has he been receptive to hearing criticism?
Of course. Yeah, he's overly acceptive, and he's always communicating, asking questions, stuff like that. So it's been good.
All right, so JJ, as you hear Kyler tell it, totally receptive. I came in. There's a lot of mental fucking going on in this. You're going to hear this. Kyler Murray knows what he's doing. Kyler Murray is stating he is presenting himself like he's the veteran. This is his team, and JJ's a nice kid, and he's got a lot to learn. He's like, yeah, JJ comes to me, and he asks me questions, and, I'm always there. I'm the good veteran. He's got a few. He's doing everything that you expect him to do. Talking about you, but also kind of scoreboarding JJ a little bit with, I'm the guy you ask. I'm the one being asked the questions. JJ is asking the questions because he's not there yet. And that's why I'm starting this year.
We both want what's best for the team.
Has he been receptive to hearing criticism?
Of course. Yeah, he's overly acceptive, and he's always communicating, asking questions, stuff like that. So it's been good.
Almost sounds like he bothers him. It almost sounds, he's always asking questions, man. Now let's hear what JJ says about the relationship.
JJ, what's your relationship been like with Kyler so far?
It's just like 2 guys in a classroom. He sits on one side, I sit on the other side, and it's the coach's responsibility to teach us and coach us. So
that does not sound good. That does not. Kyler is like, oh yeah, he's great, man. He's asking me questions, and anything that I can do, it's for the team. And then you go to JJ, and he's like, 2 dudes in a classroom. I keep my mouth shut. He keeps his mouth shut. The coaches can deal with it. This is not good. Day 3 of OTAs.
I sit on the other side, and it's the coach's responsibility to teach us and coach us. So
is there any awkwardness between you two?
Awkwardness, it's just like.
Okay, the right answer. No, there's no awkwardness at all. He's a pro, and it's a real pleasure for me to get to learn from him. Like, these are the things you're supposed to say. But JJ's like, is it awkward? And he's like, awkward. I fucking hate him, right? That's basically like what
the same feeling, and it's the coach's responsibility to teach us and coach us. So
is there any awkwardness between you two?
Awkwardness, it's just like the same feeling, when you're in high school and there's another person on the other side of the room. That's just kind of how it is. So I wouldn't say there's any awkwardness.
All right. So apparently, JJ is not confirming what Kyler said, which is he's always asking questions. He's always up in my willing to share whatever he needs to know. Yeah, none of that. They got problems in Minnesota. Get on the same page, boys. All right, now we're going to move to one of my favorite people, one of the most creative. Oh, my God, he's so funny. You talk about who's the best late-night talk show host of all time. Well, I don't know who the best is, but I know who the most creative and interesting is, and that's Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien was asked to give the speech there for graduating students at Harvard. You know, they do that. All the celebrities get to. Conan be a good one. That'd be a good one. Harvard, that's a good school. You know, some of these people, it's like I'm trying to, who's like a total, it's Kurt Russell is speaking at Southwestern Louisiana Tech's graduation, right? Something like that. The good one, like Conan O'Brien is a good one. This is Harvard. So here is Conan O'Brien telling the kids at Harvard what they have to look forward to.
The first graduating class in 1642 had only 9 students. Yeah. And somehow even they were all legacies. That's hard to do. No university in our nation has produced more Nobel laureates or white-collar criminals. So whether you choose good or evil, know that you are among the very best. The first graduating class in 16...
There you go. That's true. At Harvard, Nobel laureates and white-collar criminals. So just know, whichever path you choose, good or evil, you're going to be the best. You're going to be good at it. All right, third video is one that I've been teasing for a couple of days here. This came to us from Cans. I want to know what you think, chat room. So you tell me. The question is simple. Is Russell Crowe a dick? Russell Crowe is emerging. This is a video of him walking out of his hotel, I guess they're in Cannes, France, for the big film festival. He is immediately swarmed by paparazzi. You know, they're all asking him stuff. And Russell Crowe comes out, looks at the press, basically lays it out there. So let's watch this. Now you tell me, is Russell Crowe a dick, or is this, pretty much an effective way of dealing with this kind of absurdity? Here's Russell Crowe.
Stay where you are. Don't fucking push in on me. I'll come to you. Give everybody's space. As soon as somebody's a dick, I'm going. You got me?
Look, I'm sorry. Let me I don't want to cloud your job. Russell Crowe is not a dick. Russell Crowe is awesome. Russell Crowe just likes to act, probably because he doesn't like to work for a living. So he just likes to act, and somehow he became famous. He's never been one of these guys that seems to be affected to the extent that some of these other Hollywood guys are, where it's all like, I'm a superstar. Russell Crowe really does seem like a dude who would be fine living in an apartment. Like an apartment off an expressway. He doesn't seem like he needs much, and he's no bullshit. He's always been nobody. He's a great actor, but this is an absurd kind of thing where, what? I'm just a guy and you guys are all acting like a bunch of animals in a zoo trying to get my autograph. So he comes out and he lays it down. He's not done. There is a moment here that I want to draw. I just love this one moment, and it's maybe the only moment where you could go, yeah, that was kind of dicky, but whatever. Russell Crowe's not being a dick here. He's just laying it down.
You are. Don't fucking push in on me. I'll come to you. Give everybody's space. As soon as somebody's a dick, I'm going. You got me? Yes. Clear? Yes, sir.
Look, he even gave a little smile. He's like, as soon as somebody's a dick, I'm gone. And then he gives a little smile. And now he's signing. All right, so this is the moment that is really the most questionable, but whatever. So a guy asks him for something else, like maybe a second signature or something. I'm not entirely clear what the guy asks him for. But there is a moment where, like, Russell Crowe, I always talk about making choices. Russell Crowe pauses and makes a choice here. He takes a moment, decides, and then makes a choice. It might have been a dick choice, but let's watch.
If you can add Maximus, maybe. Can you add Maximus, please?
What's that?
Can you add Maximus? Maximus? No.
It's like, I don't know what the guy wanted. He wanted something extra. And it was probably really easy for Russell Crowe to do, but he takes a moment and pauses and goes, nah, I'm not going to do that for you. Nah, that's too much. I can't give you anything special. Watch that again.
If you can add Maximus, maybe. Can you add Maximus, please?
What's that?
Can you add Maximus? Maximus? No.
No, screw you. You're done. All right. Look, the entire situation, the ecosystem that has been created there in Cannes between celebrities and people who are parasites for celebrities, it's absurd. So, no, I don't think you're a dick if you walk out. Look, now, if he's walking out of, like, regular hotels on, non-con and he's treating people like that, yeah, that's kind of jerky. But that whole thing, that's a feeding frenzy. I don't think he's a jerk at all. A lot of people are like, he's a jerk. I'm like, no, a jerk is a guy who would just barge through and be like, be away from me. I'm not signing. He's actually doing the signing. He's doing his part of the celebrity game. He's just laying the rules down. He's like, look, anybody's an asshole, I'm leaving. Because people are assholes. All right, now, what is the third one? That's it. Kyler, Conan, and Russell Crowe. We're going to end today with the way we end a lot of our shows lately. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. That's right. Every day we focus on another situation that occurs in and around America's ballparks, whether they are major league, which we've done a bunch of times, minor league, I think we've done that as well. How about this story? This is Youth League. Now, I don't have great video of it. Let me see if so this is the video we're going to use. It's not, I'm going to let you see the video. This comes to us from an under 11. That means these kids are under 11 years old, okay? This is an under 11 travel all-star baseball tournament. Little League, okay? This is Oklahoma. The coach is, he coaches in Oklahoma, 11 and under. Where did this happen? This is Oklahoma under 11s versus Nebraska Prime Nationals under 11. This is the under 11-year-old tournament. So middle school kids. These are middle school kids. All right, can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Let's watch what happens here. These kids are all under 11, so these are like 10-year-olds. Let's watch. Here we go. It happens fast, so we're gonna watch. All right, all right. See, this is why I hate that this clip is so quick. Let's start it. We'll start it again. So this is apparently a very close game. The pitcher on the mound is on Oklahoma, and the person at the plate is on Nebraska. So the team in the field is Oklahoma. And here we go. Hold on. All right. I want to pause it here because this is how quick it happens. I wish they'd given us 5 seconds before, but no, they just give it to us from here. The coach of the Oklahoma under 11 team, the coach of a bunch of 10-year-olds, instructed the pitcher to fire a fastball into the dugout of the other team. Do you see what the pitcher is doing here? He's not throwing it at the plate. He is just lining a fastball directly into the dugout of the other team. Without any warning, just doing it. On the instruction of the head coach of the Oklahoma under 11 team. Let's see how this played out. All right. You son of a bitch! This Little League kid, on instructions from his coach, fired a baseball into the dugout of the other team. Don't know if it hit anybody. Don't know if anybody probably did. I mean, I don't know. This is insane. This is a man who parents put in charge of their 10-year-olds for a couple of hours a day. And his instruction to under 10 is, hey, you need to shut these motherfuckers up. You need to fire a fastball right into. I mean, we've seen videos of wrestlers. I guess there was one going around recently where a wrestler cold-cocked another wrestler. We have seen examples of terrible sportsmanship. This is in a special case all of its own because this is a child who probably would do anything that his coach tells him to do, because a 10-year-old, you see your coach, it's an extension of your parents, really. The coach is, you do what the coach says. You're 10 years old. All right, little Johnny, you do whatever the coach tells you to do. And this old 10-year-old just fired, not even thinking about, really, coach? Yeah, just do it, fire. It happens all the time. This is a man. Well, we should tell you, he's been banned. He will never coach youth sports again. He has been banned by the Little League Association of America. He is banned by the Under 11 tournament in the future. This is absolutely absurd that a man who is this obviously broken, who doesn't know that that's a career ender, if that's something that who doesn't know, doesn't have the emotional maturity or control, really, to be like, this is not going to go over well. I mean, how incredibly stupid are you? Again, choices. This coach said to this kid, I want you to fire this ball into the other dugout. That's a choice. There was a moment where he could have gone, I probably shouldn't give him that advice. I probably shouldn't tell the kid to do that. Fuck, he just reacted because he was mad. He's like, fuck him, throw the ball in. Not making choices. And this guy is a fool. Oh my God. I can only imagine if this is what he does here. Imagine all the bullshit this guy does on a Tuesday night at his house. Just dealing with a guy who makes these kinds of choices. Here we go. This is him, by the way. This is him right here, acting like he ain't done nothing. They're all screaming at him, calling him white trash. Here he comes. Look at him. What? What's wrong with that? All right, there you have it. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Well, I'll tell you, parents in youth sports, always disappointing. Always. That's not fair, because I've been involved in youth sports now for a couple of years, and I'll be honest with you, for the most part, we all behave ourselves. But then there's always somebody. What the fuck? Like, you're at a kid's game and somebody's like dropping it. Like, I know I do it on the stream, but I wouldn't do that at my kid's game. I wouldn't be like, look at that fucking retard. The things that parents of other kids scream out and shout in the way. I mean, do they have no self-actualization? Do they not understand how they look, how absurd this is? All right, can't beat fun at the old ballpark. All right, that's going to do it for today. I want you guys to have a great weekend. It's going to be fun around here. We're going to have a big team takeover tonight in Chicago. Sure, Fox News will cover it. You know what? Let's just go here. Barney, 11-year-olds in travel ball is insane. You're damn right it is. You're damn right it is, Barney. My kid played travel football at like 10 years old. Stupid. Are you kidding me? Travel all-star football? Are you nuts? At 11? I don't think you should travel for a game until college. I think that's when you should start traveling. The acceleration of, we're all looking, well, we know how much money there is to be made in professional sports, and we certainly know how much money there is to be made in collegiate sports. And why not get greedy? We're now looking for ways to make money off high school sports. It's why ESPN is now putting high school games on Tuesday nights during the school year. That's right, Tuesday night high school football. It's a team from Florida taking on a team from Texas. These kids don't have to go to school in the morning because football. Stupid. It's insane. Speaking of that, remember that school in Ohio? Remember, does ESPN still do the football games? Because didn't they have a problem with that school in Ohio that wasn't a real school? It was just a bunch of 30-year-old men pretending to be high school kids. Do you remember that story? There's like a really good 30 for 30 or something about that. Maybe it's Untold. I don't know. It's one of those two. It's about that fake high school in Ohio that somehow got on ESPN's high school football. And here's the thing. They got their asses kicked. I think they played like that academy down there in Florida. There's some professional athlete high school in Florida. I know that that's not really how they bill it, but that's what it is. It's a high school in Florida where, a really good kid from Oregon can go if he wants to be, a pro athlete. Anyway, I don't know what school it is. Anyway, this school, Bishop something from Ohio, ESPN put this game on like a Tuesday night on national TV, high school Tuesday night. And it was the school from Ohio versus this academy, this, future pro football player academy high school down there in Florida. And the bullshit team, the reason that this all became noticeable where people were like, wait, this can't be right. The reason is because the actual high school kids kicked the shit out of the fake high school players. They were like grown men. There were like guys on the team that were like, played college ball, but they were pretending to be high school players and they got their asses kicked. Anyway, I might have to watch that this weekend. Might have to refresh myself with that story. Guys, can I say one more thing in closing here? So I've been telling you about how I've been rewatching Game of Thrones, right? I haven't seen it in a couple of years, so I'm rewatching. I started a couple of months ago, and guys, I'm in the home stretch. I'm gonna finish Game of Thrones. I'm in the final season. I'm like there's only 7 episodes. I think I'm on episode 3 of the final season. I'm gonna wrap up Game of Thrones maybe late night tonight, and I just want to say this. Because I am now re-experiencing the final season. And last night I thought about this. I was like, is this just consistently incorrect? So season 7 of Game of Thrones is fucking awesome. Everything is coming together. Everything that I've spent the last 6 years, all of these disparate storylines are now coming together for one final battle, which is going to happen here in season 7. And all I can remember is everybody just reflexively in total programming being like, final season of Game of Thrones is terrible. All the other seasons are fantastic, but the final season, boy, they really dropped the ball. The same people were like, the final episode of Seinfeld really sucked. Shut up. No, it didn't. Final episode of Seinfeld didn't suck. Final episode of Seinfeld may not have been the greatest episode of TV you ever saw, but it didn't suck. It was at the end of the show. Final episode of Breaking Bad. It sucked. It didn't suck. The final episode of Breaking Bad was great. This reflexive thing that every final episode other than Newhart has to suck is absurd. And I'm in the middle of watching the final season. I've had the benefit. The first time when people were all upset about season 7, they're like, oh, it sucks. I think they were upset that it was ending. I think that's what they were upset about. But that came after like 18 months. So when we originally watched and digested Game of Thrones, it was one season at a time, separated by about 18 months before we got a new season. So maybe in that sort of setup, after waiting 18 months, season 7 might feel a little disconnected from the rest. But I didn't watch it that way this time. I just went from the last episode of season 6 into the first episode of season 7, and it was seamless. And I'm like, this is okay. So I don't know. I don't understand all these people. I was fully expecting to be disappointed by the final season of Game of Thrones because that's what everybody says. Nickelback sucks. Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Seinfeld season finale sucked, and the entire final season of Game of Thrones sucks. Oh, and Creed is terrible. Those are like the things that everybody knows, right? It's not true. It's just not true. I don't know. I'm enjoying it, so I'm going to look forward to to see it. Let's see here. I've never seen the final episode of Newhart. I mean, it's just the one that everybody sort of reflexively classifies as the greatest season finale ever, or series finale. It's clever, very clever. I won't ruin it for you, but it is pretty clever the way it ends. But that's not the only example of anything good. Like, nothing has ever ended well except for... Oh, really? You want me to bite on this? All right, new person. All right, 604 Olivia. What's Game of Thrones about? I'll bite. I got nowhere to be. Olivia, you want to talk? I'll talk. All right, here's what Game of Thrones is about. Game of Thrones is about this fictional place. It doesn't really exist in real time. It's a mythical kingdom, but it is very similar to our own human history as far as medieval times and kingdoms and all of that stuff goes. It's the story of Westeros and the 7 kingdoms of Westeros. There are 7 different kingdoms in Westeros, all ruled by somebody who thinks and calls themselves either a king or a queen. Now, within Westeros, there is one king of kings. That's the Iron Throne. That is the throne that the King of Kings sits on. The entire series is about who's going to sit in the throne next. There you go. It's about all the different kingdoms fighting each other to be the kingdom that takes over the Iron Throne. And it's got dragons and incest. That's how I would describe Game of Thrones. I hope that helps. All right. Frankie B says the final episode of Roseanne is very good. I don't remember the final. Now, is this like the final episode of Real Roseanne? Because Real Roseanne went off the air in like 93, right? That's Real Roseanne. Or are you talking like the final episode of The Connors or whatever? I don't know. Did the husband die in the final episode of Roseanne in 93? And then they brought him back because nothing needs to make sense, right? Did the father die? Didn't he die? Wait a second. Didn't John Goodman die in Roseanne? And then didn't he come back for the new? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Maddie says that the final episode of Hacks is out and it's a banger. This last season was awesome. I enjoyed the first season of Hacks. I remember when the second season came out of Hacks and I watched about half of it, but I never went back. It just started to be a little bit too much in one way. It was just way, I don't know. It's funny. I love Gene Smart. Gene Smart is a treasure. I don't know. That's, Hacks is like one of those shows that I don't know why I stopped watching it, but it might be a show that I will re-jump into. I will tell you this. I watched the series finale of a show that everybody who watch Hacks should be watching, but nobody does because people don't appreciate greatness without a hype machine behind it. And Hacks has a big hype machine behind it. But also on HBO Max is the end of Lisa Kudrow's 3 seasons of The Comeback, one of the finest 30-minute situation comedies I have ever seen. Gene Smart is a treasure. So is Lisa Kudrow. Lisa Kudrow is so funny. She is so funny in The Comeback. So, Maddie, I would suggest anybody who enjoyed Hacks, if you haven't checked out The Comeback, you've got to check out The Comeback. 3 seasons. Lisa Kudrow did 3 seasons of The Comeback over 22 years. That's right. Season 1 of The Comeback is like back from 2004. And then like 10 years later, they made season 2 picking up on her life. And then we're already in, anyway, it's over. Michael Patrick King, right? He's that guy who does Sex in the City and all that stuff. I think it's the best thing he's ever done because I didn't like Sex in the City. Anyway, Lisa Kudrow's incredible. Lisa Kudrow in The Comeback plays Valerie Cherish, who is a woman who was famous for about 3 years between 1988 and 1991. She had a hit sitcom on NBC. She was the it girl, and it's a completely forgettable sitcom. But now here she is all these years later. She's still kind of famous. Like she goes into a grocery store and people are like, "You're Valerie Cherish." She's like, "Oh, I am." So that's kind of her life. And the series is about her desperately trying to become famous again. It's The Comeback. It's funny. And so she does a reality show, and it's very funny. God, Lisa Kudrow's so great. Anyway, The Comeback. So maybe if you watch The Comeback, I'll jump back into Hacks because I want more people to appreciate that show for how great it is. Yeah, she's okay. She said she tried it, and The Comeback didn't grab her. Well, I guess to each his own. I don't know. I don't know how, I don't know. People even... I'm not a Michael Patrick King guy. Maybe that's it. Maybe this is so different than everything else that Michael Patrick King has done that I'm like, yeah, now this I like. Because I didn't like Sex in the City at all. I thought the attitudes of those people were just really off-putting. It was so elitist. It was so... And then you had to deal, I was single for a period of time in Sex in the City, and you had to deal with women who were sort of cosplaying like they were Sex in the City girls. And that was the worst. Oh, God. I'm meeting the girls for Cosmos. All right, I'll be at the sports bar. Come on by and grab some wings when you're done pretending you're something you're not. Anyway, yeah, I've got a lot of hatred and anger. But I manage it well because you allow me to do this each and every day. And we'll do it again on Monday, more live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on the beautiful south side of Chicago. Just a middle-aged man screaming at clouds every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, going on 5 years now, going over 5 years now. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. And what do we say around here? Our new slogan? Stay neighborly. Huh? That's a good one.